Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular commission meeting this September the 15th, 2025. If the clerk would kindly call the roll.
Commissioner Markert.
Here.
Vice Mayor Long.
Here.
Commissioner Cassell.
Here.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns.
Here.
Mayor Carney.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. If you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. You may be seated. Agenda approval. Are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions for the agenda as are you okay down there?
Sir?
Oh, no, I thought you were commenting on the agenda. And are there any comments at all on the agenda? Any
Mayor.
any pullings, anything?
So 8A has to be heard after B, C, and D.
I'm sorry, what?
8A, which is the ordinance for the comprehensive plan amendment that would include the CIP. That
Right.
has to be heard after all the resolutions. So if we can just renumber.
Okay, so B is A.
Yep.
C is B, and.
So 8A will become, will be the new 8C, is that right?
So, yes, so 8A is going to be Resolution 19725. 8B will be Resolution 203-25. 8C will be Resolution 19825, and 8D will be Ordinance Number 1925.
Got you, so that becomes 8D. All right, so that's fine.
Thank you.
Perfect. You'll remind me in case I forget.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Then I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
As
As amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect, okay. Presentation regarding, and 4A, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Moore. This is the trajectory concerning finalization of the Climate Action Plan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So I've simply asked Interim Sustainability and Resiliency Officer Chris Chedester to be here to offer a few-minute update to the City Commission relative to the progress regarding this matter. Earlier this year, of course, you all had an opportunity to receive an update in terms of the process of getting a climate action plan adopted. Given the current process, I thought it would be productive for you all to have a brief update regarding where we are in this regard and why. So, Mr. Chedester, if you would please proceed. It's about a 5-minute or so presentation. Sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for
Please speak into the microphone, Mr. Chedester. Make sure it's on.
Make sure the little red light's on there. There you go.
How about now?
Perfect.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity. When I assumed the interim sustainability officer role, the city had a draft foundation in place. That draft, prepared by my predecessor, outlined key definitions and a range of initial climate action concepts. It provided a valuable starting point, but it was not yet an actionable plan, nor one that had been vetted or endorsed by our department directors. Since that time, the work is focused on moving from a list of ideas towards a collaborative, implementable roadmap. The Climate Action Plan can only succeed if there is broad participation and ownership across the organization. So much of the effort has been dedicated to building on that collaboration and buy-in. One of the first steps was to review the Always Delray Comprehensive Plan to determine how potential climate strategies align with the city's long-term vision. That review revealed a significant number of alignments across sections, goals, objectives, and policies. Specifically, 584 individual policy-level points of alignment were identified. To capture this and illustrate this, a companion document has been completed that crosswalks each climate strategy with the comprehensive plan. This demonstrates that the climate action is not a standalone initiative, but one that is directly tied to the policies and goals that already guide the city. To ensure plan alignment translates into action, thus far we've had three 90-minute workshops facilitated with directors, staff across departments, including Public Works, Development Services, Parks and Recreation, Utilities, and Neighborhood and Community Services. These sessions provided an opportunity to discuss the draft strategies, identify potential challenges, and begin building a foundation of consensus. The diversity of perspectives is essential, and the result thus far has been early signs of collaboration and engagement across departments. We look forward to additional sessions as the climate plan continues to develop. Supporting this collaborative process, a dedicated climate action plan SharePoint site was created. This serves as the central resource where all internal stakeholders have access to draft materials, notes, references, tools, and updates all in real time. This platform helps ensure transparency, accountability, continued input, and keeps the process open and inclusive as it develops. Looking ahead, the crosswalk document between the Climate Action Plan draft and the Always Delray Comprehensive Plan has been completed, demonstrating how strongly the climate strategies support the city's vision. This document is posted on the SharePoint site and is available for departmental review, so any points of concern or suggestions for additional alignment can be easily flagged for all to discuss. The strategies from the original draft will be reorganized into the same format that used by the comprehensive plan, so sections, goals, objectives, policies. This will establish a clear and consistent baseline of climate action items already adopted in the city. Not all of the existing policies in the comprehensive plan have active initiatives attached to them today, but by linking the climate action plan to these policies, the city creates a pathway to launch new projects more efficiently and ensure that initiatives are grounded in policies already adopted. An additional upcoming step is to map the climate action plan strategies to the city adaptation plan. Public Works has already done extensive work in developing and implementing that plan, which provides a strong foundation for addressing sea level rise, flooding, and other local climate-related impacts. By aligning the Climate Action Plan with the Adaptation Plan, the city will bring together resilience and mitigation strategies into a single framework, ensuring Delray Beach is both reducing emissions and preparing for the challenges already at our doorstep. In closing, Delray Beach is making steady progress in transforming that Climate Action Plan from a draft into a unifying framework for citywide action. With alignment now established to the comprehensive plan and soon the adaptation plan, the city is well positioned to address climate mitigation and resilience together. We appreciate your support and guidance as this process moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Thank you very much. I look forward to receiving the whole thing when complete.
Yeah,
Very welcome.
Thank you for the update.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much. We now have comments and inquiries on agenda and non-agenda items from the public. First will be the city manager's response to inquiries and highlights.
I yield at this time. Thank you.
Okay. This is the portion of our meeting which is available for public comment. So we are now having public comment. Anybody from the public who wishes to address any agenda item that is not going to be part of the public hearing later on in the meeting, please get up, give your name and address for the record. You'll each have 3 minutes.
Could I ask a question before we start, sir? Sorry. I received an email this week, and I think we may have all received an email from someone who raised what I thought was a very good question. When we ask you to get up here and give you your name and your address.
Billy.
Say again?
Billy sent that, the gentleman who comes to us, and he wanted to know, is there a way, I was going to discuss this with you.
I was gonna do it
We
in
cannot
comments, but yeah.
have people give their address. Maybe they can write it down and pass it to her, as he's concerned about safety, physical safety.
It resonated with me. I mean, because
I
the
think there's
reality
a
is
problem with that. I think the
we've got
city
people here.
attorneys
We've also got people on the
understand,
internet.
like, the city attorney
Understood.
will-
I'd have to research it, but I feel that when we initially drafted our local rules, there was a reason behind it.
Yep.
I know for quasi judicial proceedings, you have to, because that can always go
That's
to court and be
testimony.
appealed.
Okay.
As for
Fair.
public hearing, it's currently in the rules. I'm happy to research it and provide you with an answer.
I didn't know what the options were. I didn't talk to Chief Hunter about it yet, and it just
I know in other
resonated with me that
cities-
it's something we ought to look at.
In
It's
other
only
cities,
fair.
they have cards that you have to fill out with your name and address. And
That's
so,
what, that's the county does that, where you have to actually to submit a card and they
Right.
get called
And so
against the
there's no
card, which is
public
probably not a bad
announcement.
idea because
But it's
So
still a
these
public
days,
record
if
someone
you give
could
your name and
get.
address and you don't like what the person is saying,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you've got their name and address. I think that's
Absolutely.
it was a fair, when
I
it
know
was raised,
the,
it was a
the
fair
school
point.
district doesn't have that rule. They don't have to say their address. So I don't think it's like
Well,
a
we
thing
research it. We
that
research
we necessarily would
You know,
have to do.
I-
if we
the
wanted to
only
change
thing
it.
I would like is some kind of a contact point for the people that speak, in case
Right.
anybody, the city needs to write back to them because they raise an issue. So maybe just a email address or something, some way by which we can contact them.
And I apologize for interrupting you. I came across as a public safety item that sort of stuck in my brain, and I just wanted to put it up here so that we could look at it and see what we can do. We certainly don't want to put our residents in harm.
I was going to raise that in
So,
comments. because
apologies.
No, it's a good point. I know, it's a good, just a
Me
good
too. I
time
had it in
now.
my notes as well.
So, Mr. Blum, not that I know your name and address for the record, but
What do you want me to give? A secret ID number?
I got that already. We
Okay.
already
All right,
posted
you
your,
know my
we already
name.
posted your social security number.
You've
and
been to
bank
my
account
house.
number, Your
Okay.
password numbers.
I am, number one, just 3 items.
I still
Very-
need to, we still need,
For now, we're still doing it.
What?
we're doing it because that's what our local rules. are.
Steve Blum,
Yes, sir.
115 Venetian Drive, Delray Beach, Florida, 33483.
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
All right, I am pleased. I was reading over the rules for public participation. 27 years ago, the rules, as far as I was concerned, had to be changed. Everybody referred to this as a podium. And it was always the podium, the podium, the podium. It's not a podium, it's a lectern.
What did I say?
And finally, I kept on, as we say, kvetching, until they changed it to the lectern, which I'm very pleased to see.
Well, I'm happy to.
Yes. But that's been going on. So I have one thing to contribute to this city in my entire life. It's the fact that I got it to a lectern. Number 2 is about 3 weeks ago, I was having coffee with some friends, and I made the point, and I'm very sad about this, and maybe you all can go back and see what you can do to change things. I said, pretty soon our flag is going to be at half-mast permanently, every single day. And it's that way. And it's a sad, sad commentary on our lives today when our flag is at half-mast every single week. Third thing is the worst word you can use in Florida is secrets or secretive. And I'm getting the feeling from more than one person that there's a lot of secrets going on between the city commission, mayor, staff, and the DDA. And I don't think that's right at all. You fund the DDA completely. They have to come to you for money, okay? You should know what's going on with the DDA, and you should have control over the DDA. That's it.
Correction, they're under contract with us to, I don't normally, but I'm just for the record, they're under contract with us to manage the old school square site, with the exception of the Crest building, and otherwise they're an independent taxing authority. So they are while a dependent agency of the city, they have their own bylaws, and they were created legislatively.
But for Old School Square, though, just
Huh?
we are funding Old School Square.
Yeah, I was just saying, they're under contract for us for funding their portion of the activities at Old School Square, but otherwise they're an independent taxing agency.
Okay. Thank you for
No
that
problem.
clarification.
Just wanted to clarify.
See you at Publix.
Where shopping is a pleasure. There we go.
Hi, everyone.
I think we
Stephanie
should get a
Immelman.
plug for that. The city ought to get some, like a free food or something for the next 2 years.
Revenue generation.
I'll just step up to
I'm
the
sorry,
lectern.
3 minutes.
Stephanie Immelman, Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce. So October is Do Good Delray Month, and it's a chamber program that pairs the for-profit businesses with a nonprofit partner, and together they create events that raise awareness and funds for our local nonprofits. So this is our 5th year of Do Good Delray, and the past 4 years we've raised over $275,000 for our local nonprofit community. And we do this because we feel that if we support our local nonprofits, it uplifts the entire community. So I've brought the calendars here for you, which I'll give to the clerk. I'd love you to take a look at the calendar and pick one event to go to and one nonprofit to support during the month of October. And I would encourage everyone here and watching to do the same thing. So if you'd like a list of the events, go to our website. It's delraybeach.com/events, and go to October tab, and you can find all the Do Good Delray events that are taking place in October. So I hope to see you out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm John Peters. I live at Dover Road in Delray Beach. I am here representing the Delray Beach Chamber Education Fund on behalf of Allison Turner, our chair, who is currently traveling and unable to be present today. The DCEF is the nonprofit arm of the Greater Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce. On August the 28th, we hosted our annual education breakfast, where we funded just over $44,300 in school grants for our 8 Delray Beach public schools. This year, we updated our grant process so that teachers, school staff, and counselors were able to apply for a grant of between $500 and $2,000 to enable them to fund a specific educational initiative in their school. We received 44 grant requests and funded 25 of them. These grants will enable our local schools to support projects that span such disciplines as literacy, robotics, science, STEM, arts and culture, ESE, Montessori, mental health, and many more essential needs specific to our local schools. As part of our process, we have also incorporated accountability and reporting guidelines. Each grant recipient is responsible for providing us with receipts for anything that they purchase, completing a grant feedback form, and during our spring on-site visits, sharing with us the impact that each grant has had on the designated areas selected. Thanks to our collaboration with the City of Delray Beach, the money that was raised this year, $15,000 of which resulted from the renewal of existing bus shelter agreements. The balance of the monies was raised through the generosity of sponsors at our 2 fundraisers and other small donations throughout the year. We feel that the grants are more than just dollars. They are an investment in the future of our students, our teachers, and our community. As the nonprofit arm of the Chamber, we also represent our business in the community. We want to do all that we can to ensure that every school-age child in the city of Delray Beach has the tools, the resources, and opportunities to thrive. Thank you for your support, your time.
Thank you very much, and for all your work your foundation, the fund does. Thank you.
Good evening, all. My name is Ronnie Denaire. I live at 2916 Southwest 22nd Circle, Delray Beach. Okay. I'm here to talk again about the Pride Crosswalk and everything that we've gone through. I was here last week for the meeting, which, as everybody recalls, was stressful. It was difficult. It was very emotional at times. However, I'm very pleased that we came up with a very good, positive, strategic move to take everything forward, and one that I feel ultimately will allow the city to embrace values that we all hold, including diversity, inclusion, and respect for everyone. Okay? I've met with a number of people. We've done some talks about possible designs. What I'd like to do is hand these copies out to the commissioners to take a look. And I also would like to introduce my partner, who is much better at the design kind of and construction stuff than I am, to talk about how and why we chose this particular design to have you look at, okay?
Hi, my name is Charlotte Dilks. I am at 2916 Southwest 22nd Circle, Delray Beach, 33445. The pyramid that Ronnie just handed out is something that I came up with without actually knowing that I was going to come up with it. When I did a little bit of research after I had thought it might be a good sculpture for Delray Beach to have, I found out that symbolically the pyramid represents obsession, strength, stability, and a very strong connection between heaven and earth. And I think that would be a really fine representation for Delray Beach, for not only the citizens, but also for the many visitors that we have throughout the year. Now, I understand that that's going to create some difficulties as to how and where. My feeling is it would be preferably if we could get it on private property. That way, the city cannot be blackmailed into anything if we can get a private owner of one of the stores or one of the lots downtown. Now, what I'm thinking of, and I haven't spoken to anyone there yet, is the little park where Park Restaurant and Salt, used to be Salt, is located. I understand that that is privately owned. Now, if we decide to go forward with this, that would be one of the connections that I would like to make. So I think that we can raise money to help to see this come to fruition. And I also know a couple sculptures. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
That's beautiful.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Richard Lowenthal, and my address is 8381 Winter Springs Lane, Lake Worth, Florida. I'm here to explain to you why I appreciate and value the Arts Garage in Delray Beach. I've been a professor of music for over 50 years with a specialty in jazz, and arts and culture have become a meaningful part of my life. From the day I started playing the trumpet in the 4th grade, and throughout my career as an educator and professional trumpet player and big band leader, music and the arts have become a guiding force in my life. When I moved to Palm Beach County, I became aware of the Arts Garage, a venue that had music, theater, visual arts for all ages, and arts education. With my background, I wanted to be able to take an active role in the future of the Arts Garage. I was drawn to the musical programs, community engagement and support, and the potential for the development of cultural enrichment for all ages. I initiated the successful jazz and Java jazz education classes that have adult students, primarily from Delray Beach, and conduct big band concerts with outstanding musicians in the area. I've been an active member of the board of the Arts Garage for 9 years, and through my time, passion, and donations have seen its value in contributing to the cultural vibrancy and economy of Delray Beach. In closing, I want to thank the City of Delray Beach and the CRA for your ongoing support. With your help, the Arts Garage will continue to be the leading performing and visual arts cultural center of Delray Beach, Palm Beach County, and the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ashley Ridley. I am here representing the Drug Abuse Foundation. We are at 400 South Swinton Avenue. And good afternoon, Commissioners. On behalf of the Drug Abuse Foundation of Palm Beach County, I gratefully accept the proclamation of recognition of September 26th and 27th of 2025 as Palm Beach County Recovery Summit. This year's theme is Reversing the Effects of the Crack Epidemic, Treating an Illness, Ending a War. We will gather from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. each day at our location, 400 South Swinton Avenue, here in Delray Beach. I would like to thank the mayor, as well as the commission, for acknowledging both the lasting harms of the crack epidemic and the ongoing work of recovery. Your recognition affirms our shared commitment to healing, justice, and community wellness. This proclamation is not just symbolic, it's urgent. In recent weeks, we've lost 2 members of our Delray Beach community to overdose tied to cocaine, laced with fentanyl. Their deaths are a painful reminder that this crisis is not in the past. It's here, it's now, and it calls for us to come together and act. I warmly invite you, along with residents of Delray Beach and Palm Beach County, to join us for 2 days of keynote addresses, panels, and breakout sessions as we move forward with solutions rooted in health, justice, and hope. I also want to thank our partners, the Neighborhood Wellness Alliance, Trinity Counseling Centers, and the Recovery Hub of Palm Beach County as we stand together for this work. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm here to 210 Northwest 2nd Avenue, Delray Beach, Florida. 33444.
And Cynthia Ridley, correct?
Oh, that's me, Cynthia Ridley. I'm quite sure they already done typed it up for me already. But I'm here to just thank our Derry Police Department. I forgot to say it last month when they found the person who hit Raymond and kept going. And I am so proud of my police department who took the time out and then came back to share with us they found the person who actually hit him, and hope that they're behind bars. So again, thank you to our Derry Police Department for doing some good work for one-eyed people that live in this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Nicholas Capola, 3930 Lowson Boulevard, 33445. I am too, like Ronnie here, to thank you for the continued dialogue about the intersection. Mayor, to your openness and willingness to listen to as many people as possible, and what Charlotte brought up is a perfect example. I look forward to as many people to share what their thoughts would be for this, because this is community driven. It's not going to be political. It's not going to be associated. It's going to discuss our community. So again, I continue to thank. I look forward to the continued conversation and how we can keep this moving. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Montre Bennett, 323 Northwest 2nd Avenue. As governments worldwide navigate challenges, where do you think the United States of America is headed? All I know is that if people expand their perspectives and move beyond materialism, we'll unlock a brighter future. By uniting, healing, trusting, and implementing innovative solutions, we can boldly build a better world. Currently, we're fighting for various causes in isolation. When will we come together to advocate for the fundamental human rights that benefit all humanity? Everyone deserves to live in a community with quality living conditions, access to care, healthy food, and opportunities to thrive. Today, I ask that every one of you embrace this day with gratitude, love, joy, and peace. Take a moment to reflect on the blessings in your life, from the simple joys of sight, sound, and breath to the blood flowing through our veins. Lastly, I attended the Citizens Academy, and I see why we need 7 firefighters on paramedics and all those for situations. It takes 7 people to actually help somebody live. It takes every one of those people to help save somebody's life. So I know y'all did the right thing, but watching it live in person really is tremendous to what the fire department does and the great works that they do to try and keep somebody alive. 7 people is really needed on those trucks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Chuck Ridley. I reside at 210 Northwest 2nd Avenue, and I am the last of the Ridley clan that'll be showing up here tonight. I want to speak on two, not issues, but 2 separate topics. The first topic is on November 9th, Sunday, 3 p.m. We will have the first fundraiser, FUN raiser, for Post 188.
What's the date?
November 8th at the golf course.
Sunday, November 9th,
Yes.
Saturday, November 8th. Which is it?
I'll get there on the
November
8th and
9th.
just spend
That's
the night.
Sunday.
Fine, no problem.
Lucy, what day is it?
Sunday.
All right, I got the Sunday, 3 p.m. is right. We need all of you to attend. It's a fundraiser, but it's also to lift up what we're really trying to do with something that we fought hard. And we want to use it as a bridge, bring the entire community around veterans, not just those in the past, those who are currently here, and those veterans yet to be born. The second thing I want to speak on is this Saturday we had the homegoing celebration of Mr. Willie Potts. Many of you might not know Willie Potts. Good chance the police department would know Willie Potts. Good chance Parks and Rec will know Willie Potts. But those of us who live in the set know my friend Willie Potts very well. He was a strong advocate. He often would not come to city commission meetings, but when he would come, he would always speak on behalf of those whose voice was always too often forgotten. And so the elders table will not let his name not be remembered. And we are starting by making you all aware that Mr. Potts was somebody and somebody to be celebrated. That concludes my...
Thank you very much for letting us know. Thank you. I did not know he died. Nice man.
Good evening. I am Michelle Yales. I am at 103 Northwest 3rd Avenue. I know that I emailed you this weekend, but I thought it was important for me to also bring my voice.
Are you going to be speaking about the millage?
I actually am going to talk about the budget process. Would you like me to wait?
Oh, okay. No. Well, the budget process is fine.
I don't care about the millage. I care about the process at this point.
Well, then, that's fine. That's fine.
So, the facts are, we are growing as a city. Our base is growing as our tax base is growing as a city, but our budget has gotten out of control. I hear you as you are asking questions about this expenditures. With a detailed budget plan that is behind each of these budget requests, you wouldn't have to ask those questions. It's also a very good accountability exercise for our staff to be able to go through detail by detail and give you that project plan or the business plan followed by the request. Now, when I sent you the email, I wasn't sure how detailed you actually did get, but hearing you in that at the end of the last meeting, I could hear your questions. We don't have that accountability. And as a citizen, of course, we won't have the accountability, but it would be nice to get our arms around the overall process behind the budget. We have grown. I think this year we're looking at a $121 million budget. That's a lot. We started, this is about 70% higher than 2018. Where is the money going? And I think with the detailed plan, we can start making good accountability decisions. Are we doing things that are no longer useful? Are there things that are redundant? Are there things that maybe we could do better? I do applaud the building the building department with their new permits process. That has been a big improvement. But we would like to see better services if we're going to keep spending more money. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, beautiful people. It's so good to see you. Marjorie Waldo from Arts Garage. I wanted to share with you some fantastic news I received from Visit Florida just this morning. In case you don't know, Visit Florida, visitflorida.com, with a corporate office in Tallahassee, is the state's official destination marketing organization and drives tourism through a public-private partnership. That is called an alliteration. Say it 3 times fast. Public-private partnership. You're not going to do it, are you?
Alliteration. Public-private partnership.
Oh, good job.
Got it.
That matches public funding dollar to dollar. Partnering with thousands of businesses across the state, it serves in a leading role within Florida's tourism ecosystem, protecting and promoting Florida's 142 billion with a B vacation brand through global marketing, public relations, and travel trade efforts. Additionally, Visit Florida provides critical statewide support after hurricanes and other crises, helps destinations attract conferences and conventions, and operates Florida's official welcome center. In 2024, Visit Florida reported they helped attract a record-breaking 143 million visitors in 2024. and secured number 1 domestic, 15.5%, and number 2 international, 25.2% market share in 2023. All that visitation generated $127.7 billion in economic impact and supported 2.1 million jobs. I lost my place in 2023, making tourism a key economic engine benefiting Florida's families. The Florida Legislature's Independent Office of Economic and Demographic Research calculates Visit Florida's return on investment as delivering $3.3 in return to the state for every public dollar invested, making Visit Florida one of the best performing economic development programs in state history. Arts Garage continues to work to do our part in feeding Delray's economy. I would be remiss not to add that we feel gratitude, and I love you each from the bottom of my heart for all that you do on the dais, for your ongoing commitment to arts and culture in Delray Beach, and the continual support of Arts Garage since our beginnings in 2011 when Mayor Carney was chair of our first board of directors. I thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, public comment is closed. Okay, consent agenda. There have been no modifications, so I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, adopted. Thank you. We are now in regular agenda item 7A, alternate considerations regarding the Pride intersection. Missy Barletto, are you here? There you are.
Ms. Barletto to be accompanied by Director of Parks and Recreation Sam Meatod as
yes.
well.
I saw Sam. I didn't see her. So.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Missy Barletto, Public Works Director, and
good evening, Sam Meatod, Parks and Recreation Director.
So tonight we were challenged to bring you a few ideas for how to replace the Pride intersection, and we have brought you a few ideas based on that. These ideas have come from people in the community who have sent emails to various staff members, from some of our nonprofit partners, and some members of the staff also have come up with some ideas. There are a lot of other ideas out there. This is just to spark conversation and is not intended to be an all-inclusive presentation.
All right, one of the first options we looked at is just a pedestal monument, like a commemorative plaque. You can see an example here, with a colorful image of the Pride intersection when it was bright and vibrant. We could put some details on a placard underneath it explaining when it was done, what it was for, kind of a remembrance. And just looking at that as an option, where could we put it? We're looking at maybe Old School Square in the northeast corner, kind of across from Pier Life, if you can envision the area where you're just south of the intersection, so you're still close in proximity, kind of a remembrance of the intersection altogether. Some examples is simple, easily to install. It's visually appealing. You could look into getting community sponsorships or other funding so that it didn't even come from the city itself. It's cost effective. We looked into a sign like this. You're looking at about $2,500 printed, made, and installed, and it can go in quickly. So we just looked at that as a simple but elegant way to commemorate the intersection.
So another idea that was brought forward to us was to rename one of the streets there. Maybe Northeast First Street could become Pride Street. I think I know where that idea came from. So this is one of the ones that would be virtually free. we can do this ourselves. It is a vote of the city commission. We make these signs in the city's sign shop. This would affect more than just one intersection. Technically, street signs are included in the MUTCD as traffic direction, but this piece of it would continue to direct traffic. Instead of directing people to Northeast First Street, we would be directing them to Pride Street. Another of the ideas that has come forward to us was that we can replace some of the banners on city light poles with the Progress Pride flag, and this would be basically sort of what that would look like. Other ideas that came forward involving our street lights in the downtown area. Someone had said that it would be great if we repainted them in rainbow colors. I would hope that we wouldn't go perhaps in that direction, because they're all spun concrete. They're practically brand new. We just replaced them in just a couple of years ago at significant cost. But we could actually rewrap all of the city street light poles in different colored lights. Instead of using the clear white lights, maybe we could use rainbow colored lights. It is an idea. The lights on the city street poles, as well as the street pole banners, are handled through the Downtown Development Authority through contract with the city. They actually handle creating the banners and placement. One of the other ideas that I think has been talked about off and on for quite some time is to do murals at the Old School Square Garage. This is an existing idea that's been around for a while. One of the stated goals of this in a different iteration was to beautify and celebrate those elements of what makes Delray Beach special. And also to enhance the interior stairwells at the Old School Square parking garage, to create crime prevention through environmental design or SEPTED design, which you hear about from us on a regular basis. The photographs that you see on this particular slide, the one on the bottom left, is the interior stairwell at the West Palm Beach garage, but they have windows that look out onto the street, and our garage does not have that. So if we were to make that investment, then it would be visible only to people who are using the interior stairs.
All right, another option is we looked at the rainbow uplighting, maybe on one of the water towers. Obviously the rainbow projection of the rainbow colors on Old School Square Garage, or projection onto the current Pride intersection when paint is removed. So just some different options you can maybe use with some lighting to get a similar effect on different options without having that permanent paint there.
And this is just just a way to start the conversation, to kick it off, and to give you things to talk about, to think about, and to give us direction back on what it is that you like, what you don't like, what you might like to see happen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had occasion to have some conversations with Nick Coppola was there with us. We had Joe Saunders, who came in front of us here. He's the political director for Equality Florida. I also met with Kevin Muth, who is the Delray resident and treasurer of the LGBTQ plus Democratic Club, and Stephen Gaskell, who works with him at the caucus. And it's very interesting because Joe Saunders had a very interesting thing that he raised to me, and he's the one who kind of is the political director for Equality Florida, so he's dealing with the tons and tons of municipalities. The city of St. Petersburg decided what they were going to do is they had some initial discussions like we have, which I think these are all interesting ideas, to essentially have a community outreach meeting like we did for the golf course, similar to what we did for the golf course, to generate some ideas. We were given one tonight, which I think is a very interesting proposal. But there's things that they're very concerned to make sure that it represents, and I think that we need to keep into mind what's important to all parts of the community. So I think that, I mean, I'm not the key is to try to. I would like to try to get this sooner rather than later to kind of get it off our agendas, because we don't want to be talking about this for months and months and months and months. So my thought was that at their suggestion at the Equality Florida was to have some kind of an outreach meeting where we could, invite interested parties to meet and throw out ideas, discuss ideas, and then you all would take those ideas and put together some kind of a program that we could then have a second meeting to discuss with you and others about which is the best path forward, recognizing, there's some are very keen that it stays as a memorial. Others are very keen that it's a prominence. There was as many opinions as to what it should look like as there were. Actually, there were more opinions of what it should look like than there were people in the room. So, which is always the way it is, which is a good thing. Because there was a lot of ideas were generated. But I'm just one person here, and I don't know what the sense of the commission is. But I'm just saying that's what they did in St. Petersburg. And I thought it was an interesting idea, and I'm throwing that out there for discussion. So I throw it out for discussion.
Sure. You're pointing at me.
I pointed at you because
Okay.
you were.
Thank you for the presentation, and you did that very quickly. I appreciate that. Also, Winnie Edwards has a neat idea about wrapping palm trees, but with the DDA, when there was the logo question, they went out and did a survey, right? Put it all together and created a survey and let people decide. I think we should allow the residents to decide what this looks like. We don't need 3 meetings on the subject. We can take this out to the public, put it in some Survey Monkey format, have people choose, come back to us with the results, and then get it done.
I think that, well, I'm just saying from every one of their representatives would like to have a meeting where they could come in and express what they would like to see, because the survey, in their view, didn't capture all of the nuances of all their views. I'm fine with either, but I mean, I'm just.
Right, the residents should decide, right, though? I mean, at the end of the day, and what happens when you get, and you're going to get 3 different organizations. If they want 3 different things, then you're going to choose from the 3?
Well, I think that right now we don't have anything to.
Well, let's just do the survey and see what it brings back.
Well,
yes, you may speak.
Just want to say that, thank you for the work. I think these are some great ideas, but as both my colleagues said, I think that to do this without a public outreach meeting is we can't do it that way. So I am in favor of having a public outreach meeting, and there are processes that you go by to come to a conclusion once you have all the ideas. But I think we need to have a public meeting so that we can hear all of the ideas. So I'm in favor of a public meeting to get as many ideas as possible, and then staff will come up with the process of how we come to the final conclusion as to what we do. So thank you.
Mr. Marker.
Just a couple of comments. We had a rough couple of days last week, for those of you that were here. Nick, you and I have talked about it multiple times. We had a rough couple of days, but you know what I love? Typical Delray, we bounce back, and we're stronger for it, people. And I'm proud of our community, very much so. I love the suggestions, guys. I think you covered a wonderful array of options that we have. Like Angela, I'd like to see us get out and immediately do some outreach meetings, just to narrow down the list. I think that's really important. but I really want to do it with a sense of urgency. I mean, we talked about that last week when we had our bad week, that we were going to bounce back. We did bounce back, and we're going to bounce back really quick, and we're going to bounce back better than ever. So good on the community on this one, my view. Thank you.
Commissioner Long, you have one or two views on this subject, I think. Right?
I'm vaguely interested in this issue. I've been a little outspoken about it, I suppose. So this Plan B, as we're calling it, this is an extremely important issue to our community. I've seen more engagement from our community over this issue than I've seen in my entire tenure up here. So I think it is something that I'm glad we're all taking very seriously. And I'm taking it so seriously that I'm going to use the W word up here, workshop.
Oh my God.
I know.
Let us know when you're out of town. We'll have it.
I know, right? You just wait till after December. No, I think we should have a workshop on this. I think we should invite the organizations who you met with already, Mayor, and I think the DDA should be part of that conversation, and then we should afford the public time to come in and speak and talk about their ideas. To me, that's how we're going to move this along. That's how we're going to have an organized conversation about this. I like the idea of doing a survey and having those results be presented at the workshop. Then we can talk about them all in one forum in an organized way, and we can start to nail down options. Otherwise, this could be a sort of death by committee situation, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so the other component of this, though, is I think this is my opinion, but I think we should bifurcate this into a short-term gesture that is maybe more of a pop-up situation or something that's very affordable and very visible, and a long-term gesture, something that's more permanent, like a memorial in Old School Square in our park. Because I don't want us to rush based on a sense of urgency and throw together something that may not be as permanent as we'd like it to be, but I don't want to only focus on something permanent and then it's months, a year down the road, and we have the community who's very engaged on this issue right now not seeing us do anything. I think we could do both, and I love some of the ideas that staff brought here. I know these are ideas that other cities have done. I love the idea of Pride Street. I know another city recently did that, maybe more than one. And I frankly really like the street pole banner idea. Those are cheap things we could do right away to show that we care about this issue, show the community that we really are making an investment here. And then we can do the workshop and talk about a long-term gesture, like an actual monument in the park. And I love the thought behind the sign thing with the picture, but that's kind of like a monument to a monument. It feels a little meta. I feel like we could maybe do something a little more visible as a monument, like some sort of sculpture or something like that. And I'd love to get more ideas on that. There's a lot of really clever things that other cities are doing. We're not in this alone. A lot of cities are in the same boat. And I think the more people we have in the conversation, the more really cool ideas we could get. But is anyone else up here on board with either Pride Street or the banner idea and discussing that further? Because I think those are both really cool ideas and easy and cheap for us to do.
Again, I met with the political director of Equality Florida for the purpose of figuring out, and as I said, the Palm Beach County LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus, and they're your people.
My people, yeah.
I mean, your Democrat people. And Stephen Gaskell, who we all know, and Nick Coppola, and they were very keen on uniformly. There were three things they were concerned with. One is speed. They want to get it done. They don't want it to linger. They don't want it to death by committee. They want to get it done. The second thing was they wanted to recognize that the whole purpose behind the original crosswalk, the interchange, was the memorial to what happened at Pulse, which is a very important memorial. And the third was essentially to ensure that whatever we do, it captures the spirit of the importance of the issue, and whatever we end is going to recognize the importance of the issue. I'm happy with any solution. I just kind of picked up decided to have these meetings because, I understood the importance of the issue, and they felt that they thought a public meeting with engagement was an important, that they wanted to go because they felt that we would collectively, and not just from those groups, but collectively, because as I said, the historic, other people are going to come with some great ideas. I saw some stuff today that I didn't even think of, which I thought were great ideas, and the presentation and that pyramid, I thought was very interesting, very clever thing to do. So I think there's a number of good ideas out there. I don't really.
We on board with a workshop to that effect?
I'm happy to have a workshop. I mean, yeah,
Consensus
if
for a
that's
workshop?
what we want to do, then I'm happy to do that. I mean, I think I would like to make sure that if we're going to do it as a workshop, which is fine, maybe we do it in the same as we were going to be having we essentially combined the concern about getting a lot of people in with ideas with the workshop.
Yeah.
And that way we could have all of us participate.
I think we need to do a submission prior to the workshop.
I agree.
Don't have people come in here with the ideas. Let them present them, maybe a little paragraph
fine,
about
too.
it,
Look, that
so
was
we
my-
have an
my-
understanding. I mean, when
my-
Charlotte explained that was lovely.
Look, my first choice was let's have the community engagement meeting, come back with some stuff, have them, those two, right there, Missy and anyway.
Well, I'd like to see a survey from the DDA like
Well,
we
I think
did
the
before.
survey's
We
good,
could see
but
the results of that during the
I
workshop.
think the feeling was, again, I'm happy to do as many things we want to do. Just that the feeling was that, and this kind of goes with what we always talk about, a community engagement. You know, you never know how surveys get responded, but a community where people are actually showing up in a room demonstrates a much higher level of commitment than just responding to a survey. Not that the survey's not.
No, I think we make that part of the presentation during the
what
workshop.
I'm saying. So I'm happy to do whatever anybody wants to do. I just, as I said, I gave you I articulated the three things that they thought were the most important.
I agree with all of them. Yeah.
And I'm trying to address.
But in the meantime, what about the banners and the street renaming? That's what I'm asking. I'm saying we should do both,
Street
not
naming is a
either
whole
or.
process. We have to go through the commission. We have to do all that when there's all kinds of stuff. So
Do we want to have a conversation about that process? Are
I'm
people on
happy-
board with the concept of it?
Yeah, I mean, the banners. I don't think. I mean, that's something that we could.
We work with the DDA on the banners? I'm seeing a thumbs up over
that's
there.
That's things we can work on without.
So we're on board with the banners?
I agree. And Ms.
All right.
Burns is saying let's get the community's input. I get your desire.
I don't
to
need the
do
community's
short-term.
input to rename the street. We can get the community's input to come up with the specific symbol for the park. I think the streets, we can make that
I mean,
decision.
I'm not opposed to that, but,
Right.
I just want to make sure that we have included the community and that they are satisfied and happy with the
Yeah, I just don't want to go
decisions that we're
back and
making.
forth. I want to just. That's what I'm saying is I'm just trying to get it done.
Right. Let's
And
just
and
schedule the community engagement, do a survey, get the information back to us as quickly as possible, schedule the workshop, and let's move it along.
yeah, because no one was happy with how abruptly this was handled, and our response.
Agreed. That's why our response is critical right now.
Is important.
And our response needs to be
Which
rapid.
is why I had the meeting as fast as I could arrange. it
I
with these
frankly think a bold gesture is needed at this point. I really do. The entire country was kind of watching us here, and I feel like we let a lot of people down, frankly. I think renaming the street would be that gesture, and I think we need to have the murals, and then we will work on a more permanent gesture that we can have the whole community on board with. We need to show as a city that we're capable of making that call, I think.
I just.
That's where my head's at.
I understand. I just think rename a street is a bigger process, and I'm just.
I
trying to-
agree.
Can
I
we
think
start
let's
that
just-
process?
Why don't we just
Can we
start the
start that
process of
process?
Start
figuring it
discussing
out?
what it means, yeah, because I mean I do
I-
think there will be community input on that, and I'm
Correct.
trying to.
Can we have that be like an agenda item number on an
I'm
upcoming
actually
meeting?
trying to go the course of least resistance to get something done.
Right.
I want to move
And-
this
and
along.
I
I'm with
understand,
you.
but I'm just trying to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, may I offer a recommendation based on the feedback being offered? So, we're meeting today, September 15th. Our next regular meeting is October 14th. So, a couple weeks from now, we would be in position to offer a community engagement session along the lines of what you're talking about. So, I think the week of September 29th would be fairly reasonable in that regard, enabling the city staff to come back with considerations in time for the next following meeting to the commission. So,
Okay.
I think that's a reasonable amount of time. It is fairly short, yet at the same time, it's not terribly rushed such that we can facilitate an environment to this effect. This would be very much akin to some of the town hall engagement formats that
Which is what
we've
we're
come
talking
accustomed
about,
to.
Do we want to ask our staff, is that a reasonable time frame?
So we're doing a town hall, not a workshop now? Is that the?
Well, we're going to do both.
What,
You're going to do
what
both.
I
We're
have
gonna do
heard
both.
from commission
And but
is
the-
that the first thing we want to do is we want to reach out to the public and invite them to provide us with additional ideas.
Correct.
So if we were to put that out as a community request for ideas
Yeah.
and give at least a week for people to get their ideas into us,
Mhm.
and then have a week for staff to evaluate those ideas, put some flesh to the idea, and then bring it back to commission at a workshop, I think September 29th would be
Or the
would
week
be
of it.
acceptable, or the week of. I mean,
The 30th probably.
You're the
when they scoop
calendar
it.
in your
30th
head,
is the
Yeah,
only
and I go by what you say on dates.
Yeah, because in my discussions, there's going to be, look, there's a lot of members, there's 4 or 5 groups that represent a much greater group of people. So I don't think it'll be very hard to contact the umbrella organizations, the various, to generate a lot of response, which we've learned that they have pretty extensive email lists. So I mean, and I think we're going to be able to accomplish that. I mean, we'll deal. You know, Compass has a whole group. The Florida Coalition has a whole group. The Palm Beach County Human Rights Council has a whole group.
We want residents' input as well, though. I mean, we want to make sure our
we want
residents are
residents to
making
know.
that
I'm just saying.
determination.
Yes, we're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing.
So, Mayor,
Yes.
just to add something, I think you also want to have some suggestions about funding for this.
Well, I actually had
Well-
that conversation this morning about about funding it, and
Is
from
it
what
gonna
I
be privately
from what I
funded?
understand, there's already been, and also
that'll be a
learned
part of the discussion.
at the day is here. There was in my conversation this morning. There are groups that are prepared to fund portions or all of this. So depending on the extent of what we're trying to do.
That isn't what we discussed on Thursday. What we discussed on Thursday was rather than doing litigation, spending those funds towards this.
That was also mentioned as well, but there was lots of discussions about.
Okay, so of discussion to be had. We should move
So do you
this
think
along.
maybe you would want groups that are going to provide the funding to bring the ideas forward since it's their funding, or do you think that's separate apart? Because it's
I don't know
almost
why
like-
we're talking about private funding at this point, though. This was brought up as when we decided to pivot to Plan B. The agreement was that we were going to fund it, or at least fund part of it.
It was discussed, it wasn't agreed to. That wasn't the agreement. If organizations are looking to fund it.
Well, we
It's
talked
kind
about
of feeling a
Plan
little
B
bit like
to
a
try
bait
to-
and switch, guys. I mean, this was how you sort of, we all discussed moving to the other
let's
option.
have this conversation in the
let's figure
future.
out what we're
Let's
gonna
just
do
schedule
first
a date for
We
this
have an
discussion.
item to talk about this right now, so I'm going to talk about it now.
Okay. Well,
I think we just had a meeting on Thursday, right? Mayor, you said, and I quote, "I suggest we take that money instead of spending on litigation and allocate it to redirecting the Pride intersection elsewhere in the city," right? So I think we should be talking about funding, if not all, part of this. Maybe some of these other organizations would match us. Maybe the DDA would work with us. But I think it's important that when we start this conversation, we are talking about our role in providing some of the resources for it.
We
Because
don't know
that
what the cost
was.
is going to be, though, at this
All
present moment.
I'm trying
I'm not
to do
saying an
is-
exact number. I'm
all
saying we need to talk about it in those
I
terms.
don't want to slow the process up because we have a debate on, because once you start publicly funding things, there's a lot of different things.
But that's what everyone said at the last meeting. So now
You
it's
don't
changing.
even know how much the things are going to cost. You have to have the discussion first so that you can
Right.
talk
I mean,
about
but
what,
But if the
what it is,
discussion
and
starts
once we
with
get a
this is going to be
cost-
privately
Can
funded.
we just agree to try to move this thing along
Ladies
tonight?
and gentlemen,
And
if I may.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So a principal concern I have, many of us now have, is that, of course, if it's publicly funded or primarily publicly funded,
We
that
have
will
to
raise a
expose
red
ourselves
flag.
again. It's
And
the
so
same
that's exactly right. Unfortunately,
you.
that is the world we live in. Goodness help us all. So what I would like to
Said
propose,
we just rolled the public then at the last meeting when we said we were going to pay for this.
if I may.
No, I'm not okay with this because this isn't what this commission agreed to, and we decided to pull out of the decision that we made. A decision was made up here on Tuesday. This commission decided to rescind that vote.
May I,
I'm not done. With the caveat that we were going to redirect those funds towards this project. Now we're saying, privately funded. That isn't what was agreed to up here. That's all we told the public.
I'm not
We
sure
are
we-
losing credibility with the public over this.
And that's not what I'm hearing, Rob.
privately
I'm
fund it.
I'm not hearing that we're committing or not committing to that. That's not.
I'm
what
not asking
hearing.
for a specific amount. I'm asking that we agree that we're putting some skin in the game
Absolutely.
on this project, period.
Absolutely. I
Then
agree
we're on the
with
same
you.
page.
I agree. I agree
That's
with
it.
you.
I'm not saying an
As I
amount or
said,
even a percentage. I'm just saying that we
I'm
need to agree that we are going to pay for part of this.
I'm recounting the discussion that we had, and it was actually brought to the offer was there that there's private funding available. So
And we-
I'm
if
just,
that's the
I'm
case,
just
we should
recounting
take
this
that.
because
Why
I'm trying to
expose
move this to
ourselves
the next stage.
when someone wants
I
to
don't want to
privately
dwell
fund
on.
it?
Because we both know how difficult it is for these organizations to raise money right now. It's not realistic to expect them to pay for all of
But
this.
if we get the small
We don't even know what all
$2,000
of this
monument,
means.
then it's $2,000. I think what Mr.
And it's
Moore
also
is
going to limit the scope of what we can do. That's
If
part
I
of the
may,
discussion.
Mr. Moore is making a very good point. This wasn't about the location necessarily. This is a broader issue. If we utilize funds in a way that our state does not see fit, we expose ourselves to losing up to and beyond $60 million. If
That's
a
not
private
accurate.
organization is
That was
yes,
tied
it
to
is.
non-compliance of traffic control devices.
Okay.
We're not talking about traffic control devices or
We are-
compliance anymore.
It doesn't
You
matter.
can't just
It's-
make up
I'm
threats
not
that don't
making it
exist.
up.
That's not real.
The laws are being enacted now preemptively that are
Okay.
talking about how you're utilizing your money. What do you think Doge is?
Yeah, I'm
Nothing
less,
to do with
I'm,
this.
I'm less concerned with that because the way we're trying to do it is in a public space or even a private space.
Right,
They-
so
some
let's
some
stop
recommend it
having
as
the
a private space,
conversation
so-
about money.
So
Right.
on that
I'm just
note,
saying,
ladies and gentlemen,
I'd rather
ma-
not be talking about who's going to pay for it and start getting into starting to get the process done.
Well,
So
the only thing I'd say is we can't be arguing about who's paying for it just yet. I agree with what you said. But we have to know what it is first, because what it is will drive what it costs. And that's what we have to evaluate. So once we know what it is, I think then we come back. I heard what you heard. We were going to put some skin in the game, but I've also heard from some private agencies that said they were willing to chip in. I've heard from individuals that were willing to chip in. So I think there's a path to get this done
So
that we can all live with.
This is meant to be a gesture that we're doing as a city, right? As a compensatory gesture. So if we don't start that conversation with we are going to have some skin in the game, regardless of what that is, we're not starting out the conversation correctly.
I just think we're putting the cart before the horse, and I'm just telling you that we're going to be dealing with public funds. There's going to be a lot of voices that are going to be having a lot to say about this. I'm trying to get it done.
I just don't want to see this morph into something that
I don't want to see it.
where
I don't want to see
where
it
it's a
get derailed
smaller
for
and
something
smaller
either.
gesture that we expect someone else to pay for, right? I don't want to see this change into another thing.
Well,
This started out as a serious gesture from the city. I want it to stay that way.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, taking under consideration all the points of view having been raised on the dais regarding the subject. So Ms. Barletto did a nice job outlining what the next couple of weeks will look like. Partnership, any opportunities to contribute to be involved in that effect has merit. So for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I, as city manager, would love to have the opportunity to make time to visit with any individual organization, groups, persons, whatever the case might be, who may have an interest in participating in that regard so that we can make that part of the nexus as we prepare considerations relative to what level of investment a la skin in the game might become necessary
Thank you so
from
much,
the city
Mr.
of
Moore.
Delray Beach. So, Mr. Mayor, any of you ladies and gentlemen, if you have names and addresses of contact people, I will initiate scheduling respective meetings and follow up with them beginning tomorrow, the next day. It doesn't get much sooner than that. Otherwise, staff will be empowered, both leadership of the Department of Public Works and Parks and Recreation will be empowered to facilitate the trajectory that Missy Barletto well summarized in her commentary a little while ago. So, beginning tomorrow, I would like to have that as part of the mix. I'm looking at probably not the 29th because that's on a Monday, maybe September 30th or Thursday, October 2nd, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's only 2 weeks away. We'll take care of that, ladies and gentlemen, if we can get consensus. But the first order of business for me, in response to all 5 of your comments collectively, is to begin a dialogue, schedule a meeting with anybody who may have an interest in making contributions and getting involved to that effect, so that when we come back to the City Commission after our exercise last week, September, first week of October, following meeting, we'll have a comprehensive overview so that you all can make cogent direction. So we have a workshop meeting, if I may please. We already have a workshop meeting scheduled to take place 4 weeks from tomorrow. That would be Tuesday, October 14th. This will be one agenda item. We already have a previous commitment for economic development synergy. We will have both dialogues in that particular session, by which time we would have completed all the work, evaluating, ascertaining any level of private partnership contribution engagement, in addition to what the opportunities haven't been expressed publicly. So if we can proceed along those lines, I think that would be productive, and that is a fairly smooth time frame soon as we can.
Great, thank you.
In anticipation of wanting to be able to do various things, getting private money in as we do public things. You're going to note on our agenda that Lynn has been working on item 7D, which is essentially going to allow exactly what we're talking about here for private money to come in to assist the city in doing some of the things. So this is all part of a grander. I mean, I'm thinking this. I'm just saying. Huh?
This is for events.
A city-sponsored thing. It's going to be events, but it's also going to be. It's going to be also to. It essentially allows if we have public purpose. I know it says events, but this is if it's something that we're going to try to do for a public purpose, it's going to allow us. We'll fashion a language so that it works. We're going to be able to get private money in when we're trying to do something for a public purpose, and that's the whole purpose of what it's supposed to be. I know we're talking about it at events, but we're going to try to make the whole language work so that we can do exactly what we're all trying to achieve here.
So frankly,
I'm really
ladies and
trying to
gentlemen,
I'm trying to get it done.
Thank you.
I would like to have y'all's consensus formally so that I can proceed. The Office of the City Manager will get started tomorrow, scheduling necessary meetings with all those who may have an interest. So I'll work with any of all of you involved who may be able to furnish that information so that my administrative team can get to work in that regard as soon as possible. Otherwise, Mr. Mitat, Ms. Barletto, you are likewise empowered accordingly. We'll finalize the specific day sometime during the week of the 29th. And after, of course, we get the legwork squared away as you've outlined in your presentation. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, if we can be permitted to proceed as outlined, I think that would be a productive approach.
Yes,
have
thank
my
you. Have my
consensus.
consensus.
Yes.
And just a note, the CRA meeting is on the 30th.
Of course.
And Yom Kippur is on the 2nd.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
we will
ma'am.
work on 7D to expand it. We may have to do another resolution. So, but we can do that.
You can direct me.
You know, as a because as we could do with like public art and things like that, we can. That's all public purpose. So we'd have to be able to make that. Okay, that's fine.
So the community engagement aspect of this will take place sometime after those dates for the reasons that Deputy Vice Mayor Angela Burns so eloquently clarified for us. But nevertheless, thank you. Well, nevertheless, well in advance, days in advance to the October 14th engagement, we'll be able to accomplish a lot in terms of legwork. But I look forward to the individual meetings my office will host with those who may have an interest in participating and offering some level of partnership, whatever that may look like. So I'll be in touch in the next day or so to get that all squared away. And off we go. Mr. Mitat, okay? Ms. Barletto, okay?
Thank you very much.
Very well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you both. Okay. We have resolution 152-25. You want to read the resolution for us? 7B?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, providing for the abandonment of interest in a portion of right-of-way adjacent to 300 Grove Place, totaling approximately 1,354 square feet, as more particularly described herein, providing for an effective date and for other purposes. Mayor, this is quasi-judicial.
I got you. I'm going to read the rules first, if I can find them. I know them by heart, but actually I should be able to. This hearing that we're about to have, item 7B, is a quasi-judicial hearing. Let me read you the rules. This hearing will be conducted in accordance with the quasi-judicial rules. The applicant and the city shall be allowed 15 minutes each to present their case. The public shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes each, or a maximum of 6 minutes if the person represents an organization or a group of people who are present but agree not to speak. The city commission and staff and the applicant may be allowed to cross-examine a witness. The city or the applicant will be allowed to offer rebuttal testimony. The decision to approve or deny an application or appeal may not be legally made upon the personal views as to whether a project is a good project or not, nor may a decision be based on the numbers of citizens who support or oppose a particular project. The law requires that all decisions must be made on the basis of whether the project meets the requirements of law, the comprehensive plan, and the land development regulations. Anyone here who is going to be speaking on this subject, if you could please stand and be sworn by the clerk.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you all very much. If the city could enter the file into the record.
Yes, good evening, Amy Alvarez, Development Services. The file number is 2025-178.
Thank you very much. Ex parte communications. Did anyone have any disclosure of ex parte communications?
I just had a text exchange and a brief word. That was it with the applicant's representative.
I had a very brief conversation with Mr. Costello.
I had a conversation with Mr. Costello.
I had a voicemail, but I didn't talk to him.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
Jeff
there
and I
you go.
exchanged phone calls, so we didn't actually connect.
Well, there you go. And whatever's on the server. So, all right, Mr. Costello.
Mayor, Commissioners, Jeff Costello, JC Planning Solutions, here representing the applicant. This particular proposal involves an abandonment of a portion of right-of-way about 50 by 27 feet. It's abutting 300 Grove Place, as you see on your screen there. This is all Grove Estates, and this parcel was purchased by the development team. And then also this is some more detail, which is just a small portion of right-of-way, unimproved, just north of Third Court. These are just some photos of the area proposed for abandonment. That there is a flushing station that we'll discuss in a minute. And there's just some other photos of the area and the adjacent properties and rights of way. This property, this right of way basically goes back to the original plat of Town of Linton, Block 41. And you see over the years there's been replats, and that highlighted area indicates the right of way in question, as well as another small portion of right of way that's also going to be dedicated as part of this proposal for First Avenue. So the abandonment again is about 50 by 27 foot area, about 1,300 square feet. This does include in green, you see the area that will be dedicated. It's a 25 portion owned by the applicant. Basically, this really needs to be First Avenue rights of way. It really is. That's how it functions. The proposed use is to include this abandonment area into 300 Grove Place, shown here on the screen. This would all be one parcel, and the applicant again owns each to the east and west, and they're going to convey the entire abandonment area to 300 Grove Place. The land use designation is low density residential, zoning R1A. Again, now this 300 Grove Place will now be incorporated into the Grove Estates development. The property will connect to the water utilities within the street here, Grove Place. And it provides a required minimum frontage, even though there's no access. Access is purely from the alley. However, this will then provide the frontage. It's in your backup, and it's a little bit more detailed. There's a 13-foot area here. This will then all become frontage over about 63 feet, and then some. This also addresses consistency with the city's addressing policy as well as fire safety code. So those are really the reasons for this request. It's an unimproved portion of right-of-way. We will the applicant proposes the 12-foot water and sewer easement highlighted in blue. It's the east 12 feet of the abandonment area. And then with regard to the comp plan policies, positive findings can be made. The abandonment area is an unimproved portion of Northwest 2nd Avenue. It's not being used as a means of access to a property. The abandonment will provide better connection to the Grove Estates community to the north. Is not outlined in one of the capital improvement programs for improvement of this street, and granting of the abandonment will not impede use of the abutting rights of way. Positive findings can also be made to LDR section 249B6, abandonment criteria. As outlined on the screen, this is a dead-end portion of right-of-way. There's no need for public purpose. The water and sewer utility easement will be dedicated. There is a right-of-way that will be dedicated for First Avenue. The existing street network and connectivity will be maintained, and the engineering division supports the abandonment. And so we respectfully request approval of the abandonment, and that includes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To the city.
Thank you. If I can just, for a second, just share good news. I'm filling in for Anthea tonight. Our STEAM director is being recognized by the UM
Oh, yes,
School
she
of
did.
Architecture.
Yes, she did.
Right. so with the Centennial Alumni Medals. So that's where she's at. So hopefully I can slightly fill her shoes. I just need the presentation available. Unless you don't want me to add anything, and Jeff did a great job, and we're done.
There you go.
So, okay, so 300 Grove Place abandonment right away. And I'm sorry, I also want to recognize Alexis Rosenberg, who's with me as well. She's a senior planner on this project. Okay, so 300 Grove Place was actually originally plotted as Lot 7 of Block 41, and that's going way back, and we'll see. It's single-family zoned, and again, the request is the abandonment of that portion. You see it again, right at the end of Northwest 2nd Avenue. There's, if you can follow the star as we go through some of these, this is where Block 41 started in 1896, and then in 1914, Block 41 was actually subdivided into the 22 lots. So in 1963, there was a resolution where Case on Memorial Methodist Church Incorporated, they owned lots 1 through 6 of Block 41. So they wanted the portion of Northwest 2nd Avenue that was adjacent to the lots that they owned to be abandoned. So that's why, sorry, I'm trying to get the cursor there. The portion of 2nd Avenue wasn't abandoned also next to Lot 7. Lot 7 was never individually developed. So if it ever did come in for development, they needed access. So that never happened, but now it's planned to be developed to be incorporated into Grove Estates, and that's the yellow part on the right side of the screen. And so they will have frontage into that development, as was noted by the applicant. Abandonment of right-of-way. So typically, when you have an abandonment, it's split in half to the owner on one side, half to the other side. But because it's the same owner, they essentially they could pick, but that would have created a little bit of other issues. So they're required to provide everything to 300 Grove Place, so that they still meet the frontage requirements and don't create any nonconformities as far as frontage goes. So again, there are findings, whether or not the public right-of-way is needed for public purpose. Is it preventing access to a lot of record, and is it impacting provision of utilities or other services? And so with abandonments, you can provide conditions. 2 of the conditions, and those are included in your resolution that you have. It's just that all of the abandoned area be deeded to 300 Grove Place, and that the water and sewer easement is provided, and that's in your next item. Should this be approved, then we would move on to that one. We went over the comp plan with the applicant. Planning and Zoning Board reviewed this August 25th of this year and recommended 6-0 to approve, and that's it.
Great, thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Are any members of the public wishing to speak on this application? Please come to the lectern, give your name and address for the record, and you will each have 3 minutes. Seeing no members of the public comment is closed. Is there any rebuttal to cross-examination to I think? No, we're okay? All right, well then to the commission. Mr. Marker.
I looked at this quite a bit. I'm fine with this.
Okay, Mr. Long?
I'm supportive.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes, I think all the findings show that there's no need for public purpose, and the lot does not prevent access to the record, lots of record, and that the last one, it doesn't prevent any detriment to the adjacent property, so I'll be in support as well.
Great. Commissioner Gasol?
Can you just go back to the slide one more second? I just had one question, thank you. So the 300 Grove will be developed, but that will be left undeveloped because there'll be an easement? Is that what you're saying? Where is the easement located?
The easement is the eastern 12 feet of the red portion, the part that will be abandoned. But it will be on the property that is part of 300 Grove Place.
Okay, understood. I don't have an issue with it. You know, you would have liked to have seen them put in ingress egress there, because I do worry about the effect of the stacking on Lake Ida with this. But it's essentially they could put a house there either way, but this just makes it conforming. Is that the purpose of this for
Right,
the
with
applicant?
the abandonment, they then would not have sufficient frontage.
Got
so
it.
This provides the frontage onto Grove.
I don't love abandonments because of our comp plan, but in this instance, I feel like it's suitable. So I will. I'm sorry I made the gentleman get up, but I will agree to the abandonment based on the criteria that you're presenting.
Thank you. This is one of those alleys to nowhere, so,
Right.
I mean, it makes no, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very small part. It wasn't going anywhere. No, it was never going to be developed, and, you know, so I that's what I think. So I need a motion one way or another here.
Motion to approve resolution number 152-25.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Marker,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Cassell,
Yes.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Carney.
Yes.
Motion to accept water and sewer easement agreement adjacent to 300 Grove Place.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Done. Okay, 7C.
Thank you. Thanks to
you.
staff. Thank you.
Mr. Dokowitz.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is amendment, a budget amendment. It is transferring $2,000 within the to cover the cost of attendance at the 2025 Cradle to Career Network event. The money is coming out of travel and per diem, and it's going into promotional activities, special events. They're just line items within the same department.
Any discussion up here? Then I need a motion to approve it.
Can I just ask one question? Have you met your 60? Is it $65 or $60,000?
It's 65.
Because we are at the end of the year, so you've met that. That's why this just didn't get transferred without our approval. Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Did
that.
That's correct.
Did you need the caption read into the record?
I'm sorry?
The caption.
Yeah,
Good
why don't you
question,
read the
by the
caption
way.
for us?
Resolution number 19125, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, amending its budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, by providing for supplemental appropriations in the amounts identified in Exhibit A, repealing all resolutions inconsistent herewith, providing an effective date and further purposes.
Okay, I need a motion to,
Approve resolution number 191-25.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It is
Thank you.
approved. Okay. All right, 7D, which we kind of, I talked about a little bit.
Yes.
Lynn, why don't you kind of explain what we're trying to achieve here?
Perfect. So we obtained an ethics opinion from the Commission on Ethics. Essentially, the police department wanted to find out if they could accept donations for National Night Out from vendors, lobbyists, people who do business with the city, that, as you know from the rules that we all have to follow, is generally prohibited. The Commission on Ethics came back and indicated that if our city events are declared to serve a public purpose, then any of those events could receive donations from people who do business with the city. So the timing of this, and the mayor and I were talking about it this morning, the timing is interesting because we've had discussions about potentially seeking to reduce city contributions on some of our special events, and this opinion will allow us to do so. In response to what the mayor was just asking earlier, there are some citations in this ethics opinion, so I do have the impression that if, for the Pride Memorial, if we do declare it that it would serve a public purpose, I do believe that we can seek donations
But
for
you're-
that.
you're gonna
But
clarify
I will
that.
clarify that in writing from the Commission on Ethics before the workshop to confirm that.
So, we can do this one now, but we can come back the next time to make sure that that language is covered. 'Cause
Yes,
The
we'll-
way I read what the rule was, is that if it's a public purpose, the fact we said this, but the city can engage in a project which is a public purpose and also get, because otherwise we're not allowed to do it without having a not-for-profit standing between us and the project, which makes no sense.
Exactly. I mean, it is subject to things like the donations have to be accepted on behalf of the city and used solely for the public purpose, and
Right.
there's no
That-
quid
that-
pro
that-
quo,
that-
the
that-
standard language that
yeah,
you typically see.
That's fine. That's
So tonight's agenda item is twofold. One, we are seeking consensus to have all the city events that are listed in our special events policy. I can read them to you if you'd like. The St. Patrick's Day Festival, the Spring Fest Egg Hunt, Memorial Day, the Pride Festival and Concert, 4th of July festivities, Delray Beach Ocean Mile Swim, Annual Lifeguard Competition, National Night Out, Community Resource Fair, Amazing Challenge, Kids Fest Halloween, Veterans Day, Turkey Trot, Surf Festival, Family Fun Day, 1,000-foot Christmas tree lighting ceremonies and associated city events, the Holiday Parade, the menorah lighting, and the New Year's Eve celebration. If the commission declares these events as serving a public purpose, we'll notate that in the special events policy and going.
Menorah lighting, New Year's Eve celebration in Green Market. Did you say that?
St.
I didn't say
Patrick's.
Green Market and I didn't say Delray Beach Open because those are not events that we put on.
Oh, fine, okay.
So those are the only two I omitted. The rest are all events that the city puts
Okay.
on.
All
So
right.
if we declare those to be a public purpose, then we can seek donations. So that's the first
That's-
part of this
that's
agenda
good.
item.
Perfect, okay.
How are we monitoring the process, and how's the reporting going to work? Who's going to be responsible?
So we have to ensure that we are receiving donations from entities that have the same values of the city. I think that's important, and it needs to be said. People are generous, but we also, for example, when somebody wanted to do a CBD float in the parade, we do have limitations in our rules that because it's a family-friendly event, we would not allow such a float to participate. So I think this is the same thing. My recommendation is I don't think you need to see every single donation that staff receives. I think the manager can handle those. But if somebody wants to make a sizable donation, and I would leave that number up to you, I do think that should come before you the same way that the special events come before you, so you can all make a decision that this is something that we don't have concerns over a quid pro quo, whether or not all the funds are being used for this special event. So I would leave that number up to you, but I would recommend that just to have a safeguard. I don't foresee that really coming before you. The event that we're going to talk about that affects National Night Out, or the donation, is $4,500. So I don't think you're going to see huge numbers, but I think if somebody were to make a sizable donation, I do think that should be something for the commission to opine on.
I talked to Lynn about this afternoon. I think the right number might be 25,000. I think if we get a sizable donation that's that big, I think the commission should look at it. I'm open if we think the number should be higher or lower, but I think it should be set at a reasonable threshold that the city team can make the decisions on almost all of it, but if we happen to get a big offer, that we get a chance to weigh in on it.
Yeah, I don't care what the number is. I mean,
No.
the reality is, we're gonna be careful anybody who do we accept donations from, so I'm not,
I think,
anything can slip through, but I mean.
Amen.
yeah, I think, to me, the more important element of this is that we give it is important that we make sure we're vetting who donates. We can't find ourselves in a situation where, like, the Proud Boys donated to, like, one of our events or something weird. But, like, by accident. We should be careful, but, like, I'd also like to see organizations that want credit for it to be able to say sponsored by a specific organization
That would be-
for the
that's-
event,
that's
because
where
that
I-
could encourage
Yeah, no, I think
more
that-
funds coming
yeah,
through.
That can be done, that's what they used to do
I
at
don't
St.
think there's an
Patrick's
issue
Day,
with
for
giving
issue.
them
Okay,
credit.
then
Yeah, that's what we used to do at St. Patrick's Day. Everyone got credit. It was great.
Yeah.
So, so Lynn, do we need a threshold? Is that something you?
It's your call.
Do
I-
we
you
care?
know.
Do we care? I mean,
I feel like we should maybe have a threshold, and I also am wondering, and I hate to be discouraging applicants, of course, but you don't want to have a situation where you get a big donation from somebody who's got an application in front of us pending review. That's just not going to be a good look.
I
And
think
that
the
could-
manager would recognize that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it should be circulated through staff. We have a special
Okay.
events committee that it's comprised of different departments. So I
Right.
think they could do the initial vetting, and if maybe they don't feel comfortable with the size of the donation, maybe they have the right to elevate it to the
I
city
think it's
commission for
exciting that
approval.
we can even get donations.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
this
the
point.
reality is that 25,000, most of these events are way under that, so we
Right.
wouldn't be asking anyway, so.
So do you want to just leave it if staff feels it needs to be vetted by the commission, they can just bring the donation request to you, so that you don't have to put a number on it?
Yeah, but maybe we get emails notifying us of the donations.
It could be a consent.
Well, we
can't
can, we'll
tell us?
notify you, but there can't be a discussion.
No, not for an exchange, just
It
so
could
that
be
we
a
know what
consent
happened.
item, though, we, just as approval.
You can put it on consent.
I like that
you know,
idea, Mayor.
So any number
that
or
we don't
just a
spend a lot of
sizable?
time on it.
That's
I mean,
fine.
unless
Any
unless
number,
we
might as
notice
well just go
something,
on
That's fine.
because one of us may have an idea about a group that the others may not have any information, so it's probably
So you're good with that?
better everyone
As long
knows
as
that.
it's on consent,
Yeah,
we
it
could
doesn't
pull it if
Consent
we
is
needed
perfectly
to.
fine. We can
Yeah,
do
you
that.
can pull it if
Mhm.
somebody has a question about the donor.
Perfect.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we need a motion.
So motion to approve an amendment to the special events policy to declare the city city events as serving a public purpose.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
And so because we do have a donation that is pending for the National Night Out, which I believe is in just a few weeks, the donation is $4,500 from the Harvey and Virginia Kimmel Foundation. Does anybody have an issue with that?
No?
No, I have no problem.
I
Mr.
just want to
Kimmel?
make
No,
sure,
that's
because it's
fine.
not going to be on consent, so.
Right.
So, thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
That's fine, just show the record, show there's consensus, we all agree on.
So everybody agrees on that? There's no?
Yes.
That's
okay.
right, yeah.
Thank you.
Great, item 7F, which is the approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Delray Beach and the Palm Beach County.
Mayor E.
7E.
Where am I?
E.
You said F.
You're
It's
7E.
E.
You said F.
I said F?
Yeah, they're two, they're the same.
They're the same, but they're twos.
No, yeah, but you're right, okay, collective bargaining between the city of Delray Beach and the Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association for the police officers and sergeants. That's when I was reading, so I would have gotten to sergeants if I'd gotten finished.
Yep.
So-
Dwayne DeAndre, Human Resources Department. You're very familiar with this, Mayor and Commissioners. This is the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Delray Beach and the Police Benevolent Association for officers and sergeants. This CBA will be in effect retroactively from October 1, 2024 to September 30th, 2027. Seeking some motion to approve this collective bargaining agreement.
Is that all we need, a motion to approve? Motion to approve.
Are we
I
having
don't see a number.
discussion?
Well, we can have we can have a motion, a second, and discussion, so,
Okay.
Second.
okay, for discussion.
I am so excited about our new chief of police, and I feel like there's a different feeling in the air, and I'm beyond thrilled about it. But everybody knows I have not been supportive of the extension of the drop program. May have gone to 6, but definitely not really wanting to go to 8. And I'll explain. You know, the drop program is you get paid retirement for life, and now it's retirement for life plus 5 years, but it's retirement for life now plus 8 years. And there is a cost to the taxpayers. I do think it stifles upward mobility for the younger guys. And I do know when we got that list of the top 50 paid employees in the city, some of our officers were making well over $200,000. And so you're keeping those individuals potentially on for years longer than you would expect to have them, and holding down people from moving up. So I have concerns about it. And also, one of the reasons I have big concerns is it's not optional for the city to say, hey, we've got a bunch of great young guys who really want to move up. We want to encourage them. We want to keep them. So we can't pause the drop program and say we're not going to keep people on. Once we accept it, it is what it is, and it's done. I know my colleagues, I know there's a 3 vote up here, maybe a 4, I'm not sure. But I also want to say to you, last night, because I swear I must have the most boring life in the world, something inspired me to go start looking at the retirement system actuary reports, and it's very concerning because all these reports we get that estimate what are the costs of this going to be, what are the savings going to be, are done based on assumptions. And if you go through this reports, right, the 2023 report shows that there was a net loss of $2,471,086 since the last valuation, because lower investment rate of return than expected. And the actuarial assumption is 6.7. Now, I remember when the actuarial assumption was 7, and I thought that was too high. They moved it down to 6.7, and we haven't met it. We may have met it this year, but we haven't had our report yet. There was something in the report from our actuary that when we were considering this. But then you go back to the 22 report, loss of $3,295,313 because, once again, we did not meet our expected rate of return. So the assumption changed and lowered, but yet we're still not meeting it, which makes you wonder. So that sent me on another quest to look at the quarterly financial investment reports, which I found actually kind of interesting because I do have a little bit of knowledge about investments, and some of these I couldn't even find online. Timber, we're invested in timber. That's interesting. We're invested in a lot of things. But the quarterly reports for 2025 thus far have, and I want to read this to you because it's 70 pages, and you can go through the whole thing. And look, maybe I'm not understanding this right, but there's one section when they talk about our fund compliance, and it says total plan returns equaled or exceeded the 6.75 actuary earnings assumption over the trailing 3 to 5 year periods. Answer is no. The next question is total plan return equaled or exceeded the total plan benchmark over the trailing 3 to 5 year periods. Answer is no. The next question is total plan return ranked within the top 40 percentile of its peer group over trailing 3 to 5 year periods, and the answer is no. So I would say to you that when we're getting these reports about what this pension is going to cost us, it's based on an assumption of returns that we aren't getting, and we haven't been getting since well before 2022. So actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Once in June 2021, we exceeded the 6.75. Now I asked Mr. Dakowitz, do you sit on these boards? Because when I looked at the fire, and it got to be 11 o'clock last night, so I only went through a couple of the fire reports. Mr. Dakowitz only sits on the general employee. I would like a workshop presentation if you're all interested as well. I want to understand what's going on, because even if you're going at the low end, right, and you've got treasury bonds and CDs for safety on the one end of your investment spectrum, they're getting over 4%. All the mutual funds that I'm aware of are producing between 9 and 15%. It's been remarkably successful if you're invested in good mutual funds. And even if you have some stocks that aren't amazing, they're still doing okay. So I am struggling to understand who's making the determinations about where we're investing. When you look at the investments, I mean, somebody needs to review this. Somebody needs to understand why we're not making more money on $150 million. Now, it could very well be that there are restrictions on what you can invest in. I'm sure there's a certain amount of money that you have to keep blocked out to pay out.
There's restrictions.
But this to me doesn't make sense.
Okay, so Mayor, can I just make a point of order?
Please.
So as a reminder, we were at a public hearing.
Yeah.
We were at impasse.
Yep.
And you voted on a contract, which is
Right.
what's before you. I understand it was
I'm just explaining why I'm not voting
I
on
understand.
I don't want the drop. I'm sorry,
I understand,
and I think
and
I
you'll
can
have your
explain
opportunity
it.
to vote, Commissioner Casal.
Duly
But
noted.
we need to
Thank
be
you.
very, very clear right now that what you were going to impose if the union didn't accept this is exactly what's in this contract, except for a shorter term. So I just want to be clear, we don't need to create an issue.
No, that was me asking for a workshop on a separate issue. I think we need to understand how these investments are working.
Understood. And you have to remember, those are 3 separate legal entities that are not under your purview, that have their own investment consultants and have their own advisors. So while you have every right to
We have to
understand-
invest when they're not making
I
money.
understand.
Taxpayers
the
are
city
paying
makes a
in.
contribution, but you have to be mindful
Giant
that
contribution.
they have their own, and the employees, that they have their separate legal entities. And so as your control over them is more limited than probably most people would think. So just wanted to remind everybody that this contract would have been imposed. So I just don't want to create a problem up here on
No,
what
I'm
we're
just
voting on
explaining
today.
why I have concerns with the actuary report, because you're going on assumptions that haven't proven out for 4 years.
But the other thing is too, is part of this arrangement that you're going to be approving this evening, it does readjust the benefits that the employees will receive in order to try to improve the rate of return and the assumptions and those things. So while I completely agree with you, and I know the actuary would agree that these are assumptions, and everybody knows the saying about when you assume, at the end of the day, what the police are contributing is going to be more, the officers are going to be
No, I am
contributing,
well aware of
and
that.
receiving is
I
going to be
understand
different
that.
than what the current
I
state
totally
is,
do.
to hope potentially improve the financial scenario.
I've said, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Marker?
I'm good.
Commissioner Long?
Yeah, I guess, this has been a frustrating process, to say the least, I will say. We've had to do it behind closed doors, and that's not, again, anyone's fault. That's just the way that the situation works, right? And so people didn't get to see the conversations behind closed doors. They just saw that we were at impasse for months and months and months as we lost officers and morale plummeted and things just kept getting worse for a while. And folks would ask me, how can this still be going? And that whole diatribe was an example of why this got extended.
It's important information.
It was unnecessary.
Not really.
That we did go this long. I'm only gonna be here for 2 more months, guys. I hope you guys don't do this with a fire contract or do this again ever, because it caused irreparable damage. Not irreparable, but it's gonna take a long time to fix it. We lost a lot of officers here. I think we all want what's best for the cities. We have different perspectives on how to get there. But I hope there was a lesson learned from this. This is an essential service in a competitive market. Period. If we're not competitive, we lose officers. We saw that. I hope everyone uses this 8 months that we, got held in this stalemate and got in this position. I hope we all learn something from this collectively, and we don't do this again, and this city doesn't do this again. I'd hate to see it, because without our first responders, without public safety, everything falls apart here. So, but I am now, on a positive note, I am so glad this is done. I'm very excited to have Chief Hunter at the helm, and I'm very confident that we'll be able to recruit and retain going forward. I think that we've agreed on a very fair contract that is going to help us retain and recruit those officers and talent that we need to keep Delray Beach safe. And so thank you to all of you, especially you, Commissioner Marker and Commissioner Burns, for making this happen. But I really hope we all can learn a lesson from this moment, regardless of what side of this debate we were on, because it didn't have to get this bad. It really didn't, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Commissioner Burns?
I'm just ready for it to happen. Just so glad that we finally got here, and congratulations, and I'm ready. I've made the motion. It's been second.
My view, there was a first and a second, yours and a second.
Mm-hmm.
My view is as follows. I don't think I could be any clearer of my thoughts about the 8-year drop than I was, by email, by dais, by balloons in the air and planes carrying around the banner. I was very clear. We voted, and the way I typically operate is when we vote and we send something forward, I then try to speak with a unified voice on matters, although everyone knows my displeasure. I'm not going to relitigate whether I think you were right or wrong on that point, so I'm not going to do that. Let me just say that my view is we passed something, we sent it to collective bargaining, it was approved. So I'd like to speak with the commission speaks with, it was a commission decision. I stand by the commission decision, whether I agreed with it or not. And now we have the decision to ratify the contract. So I'm going to vote in favor of the contract to be ratified, because that's just the way I think that procedurally, the way I operate. So we have a motion and a second. Could you please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Cassell,
No, I'm sorry.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Carney.
Yes?
Commissioner Markert.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Okay, 7F, approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Delray Beach and the Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association for lieutenants.
Yeah, Mayor, Commissioners, this is this is the CBA for the collective bargaining agreement between the Police Benevolent Association and the City of Delray Beach. For lieutenants, it also would be retroactive from October 1, 2024 to September 30th, 2027, something you're very familiar with. Looking for a motion to approve this.
Could I ask Dwayne a question?
Certainly.
Thanks, Dwayne. I think, Mr. Moore, you said you put the money in the budget for these two, including the increase of the 600,000 that was unassumed for the upper level individuals in the. Okay, what I brought this up before as a concern, because once we increase the pay all the way up, now we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, in the department, who are in the department, not in a managerial position, making more than a number of our directors.
Yeah, so I'm glad you
what is the how does that?
So I'm glad you brought that up. You did bring that up at the impasse hearing that Ms. Jellin was talking about, and I think I answered it then, but I'll answer it again. So what we are going to do, due to the upward trajectory of the officers and sergeants and the lieutenants, we're going to be looking at the executive command staff over at the police department. They're in pay grades. We'll have to be looking at the pay grades for probably the maximums to be moved up. We're going to be benchmarking with other municipalities and agencies. I'll be bringing that to Mr. Moore for some direction there, and that'll probably be brought to him relatively quickly after the passing of these collective bargaining agreements.
Okay, and do we have that money in the budget, or are you planning on using that additional approximately $450 that we just squeezed out of the budget
That won't be
today?
necessary. There'll be some accumulated savings within the Delray Beach Police Department itself to take care of that in particular, which is factored into 25-26.
What savings do you have in the police?
Within the Delray Beach Police Department itself, as a result of some of the previous vacancies, we'll be able to offset from there.
Okay.
I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Cassell,
I'm sorry now.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Carney.
Yes?
Commissioner Markert.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'd just like to say thanks real quick to the negotiation team for the City of Delray Beach. They did a really good job during this impasse hearing, and I think they had a shout out. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Including yourself.
Yep. All right, I guess I have the gavel for a minute while the mayor's in the restroom. So let's move on to public hearing and second readings.
No, remember 8B is going to be 8A.
Oh, we moved it, right.
Yes.
Okay.
So would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
So a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, certifying to the property appraiser and tax collector of Palm Beach County the final rates of millage to be levied by the City of Delray Beach for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, establishing the City of Delray Beach's final general fund operating millage at 6.1611, which contributes to a final aggregate millage rate for the City of Delray Beach that is 9.37% higher than the aggregate rollback millage rate of 5.7329, establishing the City of Delray Beach's final debt service millage rate at 0.0309, providing for an effective date and for other purposes. The intent of the City Commission is to adopt an operating millage rate of 6.1611, which is necessary to fund salaries, operating expenses, capital expenses in the general fund, and to adopt a debt service millage of 0.0309 for a total millage rate for fiscal year 2025-26 of 6.1920.
I knew it was a long resolution.
Back to you,
so
Mayor.
I-
Yeah, you nailed the timing.
Toilet paper on your shirt.
Huh? Sure, yeah. Thanks so much for that input.
Sorry.
This is Mr. Dockwitz, you are up.
This is the second of two required public hearings. First public hearing was September 3rd. I think you're all pretty well versed in the numbers. We've seen the millage rates before. The operating millage rate for this current year that we're about to conclude is 5.9063. Recommendation is 6.1611 for this coming fiscal year 26. The debt millage rate is going from 0.0337 to 0.0309. Total millage rate from 5.94 to 6.1920. The average homeowner with an assessed value home of $447,888. The city portion of the tax bill is going from $2,660 to $2,773, an increase of $113. The last 10 years, the Commission's goal was to lower the millage rate each year consistently. It went down this current year from 24 from 6.4982 to 5.94. This 26 proposed 6.1920 is still below the 2024 millage rate. Total millage rate of 18.4518 is composed of the city of 6.1920, the public schools of 6.3210, and the county of 4.5330. Homeowner pays $2,773 in ad valorem taxes to the city, assuming the $447,888 taxable value. By fund type, we're looking at the general fund of $201,531,067. The enterprise funds, which support themselves with their rates and fees, is $140,790,203. Special revenue funds, $32,429,558. Internal service fund, which supports the other operations of the city, $45,545,485. And debt service, $4,005,600. Here's a tabular version of those dollars. So the revised fiscal year 25 budget that we're finishing this month, $399,963,217, of which the general fund was $189.3 million. The proposed budget, $424,301,913, of which the general fund is $201.5 million. The dollar change on the general fund, $12.23 million of 6.46%, and overall, the $24,338,696 increase is 6.09%. The highlights: estimated taxable value of properties increased by 8.74%, from $18.1 billion to $19.6 billion, the 15th year of growth with values at the highest level in the city's history. Expected increase of property tax revenue from $103.2 million to $118 million. The operating millage rate will experience a modest 0.252 increase of 4.3% from 5.9063 to 6.1611 mils after 12 straight years of declines. Increase in parking revenue of 0.8 million. Decrease in projected usage of fund balance reserves from 9.5 million to 3.4 million. Here are the general fund expenditures by department. Looking at the largest, we're looking at the police going from 50.3 to 56.8 million, an increase of 6.5 million, 12.97%. Fire from 49.2 million to 50.12 million, an increase of 904,996, of only 1.84%, I'd say Chief Martin should be congratulated, given the fact that this
Agreed.
incorporates the move from 2448 to 2472. Parks and Rec went from 22.3 million to 23.0, an increase of 710,000, 3.18%. And when you look at the total, going from 189.3 million to 201.5 million, for a change of 12.23 million or 6.46%. Highlights on the expenditures: personnel services, salaries and benefits increased from 114.2 million to 120.8 million, a 5.8% increase. The PBA has reached an agreement impacting next year's budget and has just been approved. Debt millage rate decreased from 0.0337 to 0.0309 due to an increase in taxable assessed value and lower bonded debt service requirements. Increase of 3.3 million tax incremental revenue payments to the CRA, driven by an increase in estimated taxable value from 21.3 million to 25.3 million. Enterprise funds, this is where they are self-supporting and their revenues should cover all of their expenses. Water and sewer, rate adjustment of 4.5% to be effective on October 1st, 2025. Projected monthly bill of $72.20 for average customer with 6,000 gallons of usage. Stormwater fund, new stormwater rate structure implemented in October 2023, funding of capital projects and grant matches. Sanitation fund, rate adjustment of 2.14%, effective October 1st, 2025. Curbside collection for residential single family of $19.54 a month. Municipal Lakeview Golf Course is overdue renovations and repairs, and we are in the process of looking at a bond issuance for the Delray Beach Golf Course. City Marina Cemetery, construction of mausoleum. And here we are, September 15th.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
No, I would agree with you that we have to commend Chief Martin. I think coming out of the gate, we were expecting about a $10 million increase in that department, but would like to note that I think part of the reason why we're there is because we had asked about zero-based budgeting in the larger departments, and he went in and did that, and that's, you know, how we find ourselves here. So I do think we have to annually pick a big department and ask them to do that, because that's a big savings from what we anticipated. Thank you for the presentation.
Welcome.
This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to come and speak on this matter, please come to the lectern, give your name and address. You will each have 3 minutes.
Susan Hansford, 800 South Ocean Boulevard, Delray, 33483. I'm not sure if I'm speaking at the right time, but I did want to speak about the budget, and that's, I think, where we're at. I've had, in the last, I'm only doing 10 years back, even though I've been here since 1992. But for the last 10 years, with my homesteaded home, my taxes have gone up 22%, and all the different figures I saw, everything just the costs just keep going up, 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 which, hey, we know that from going to the grocery store. But we also have so much increased tax revenue from new residents, from all sorts of increases in property value. My property value has gone up, even though it's homesteaded, it's increased by 3% every single year. I think that's the cap, is 3%, correct?
On the tax rate, yes.
And it has gone up 3% every single year. So it's gone up in the last 10 years. My tax bill has gone up 22%. I think that's wrong for a homesteaded to go up 22%. The other thing is the stormwater charges. I have a lot of people in my neighborhood, and even someone I spoke to earlier here is having horrible flooding problems in their neighborhoods. Our stormwater charge has gone up 483% since 2023. That is outrageous. It wouldn't be outrageous if the problem was fixed, but it's not. So now, in 2022, we were paying $63.96 for stormwater, and that goes all the way back to 2015, because I only went back 10 years. Then in 2023, we had a 237% increase in stormwater charge, and it went up to $216.38. This year, 2025, it's gone up to $373.04. That's a 483% increase. And no results. We have no results to show for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on the millage adoption for the city of Delray Beach? Seeing none, public comment is closed to the commission. Need some kind of a, I'd like to move that I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the millage rate that we have currently in existence of 5.94.
Yeah,
You'll
for
second?
discussion, we
Okay.
can discuss
I'll
it.
second.
Okay. Well, we can vote on it if you want. I mean,
Well, can we talk about it? Because
Sure.
we're going back to the beginning. Some of the people here probably haven't been paying attention since the beginning. Well, we have to, because if you're going back to his rate, you have to go back to the first presentation we had on June 10th, which showed we have a $26 million deficit. 26 point something. It's 23.9, but that didn't include the funding for the nonprofits, and it didn't include the 3 men on the ambulance. So once again, Mayor, you know, I came in here, I went through the 500-page document, I pulled out line by line, even down to $50 for steel toe boots, the $7,000 for the organization that isn't even in existence, the Explorer program, which is no longer. I did my due diligence. $108 million the city is required to pay just for safety. We're getting $118 million in tax revenue. It's not enough money to function. Our job is to provide services to the residents. How do we do it without money? I followed you last year, concerned. I told you when we were campaigning, when you get in there and you see how bad the finances are, you may change your mind. We did it. And you made a speech that said, I know I can never do this again because the costs are increasing. You said it over 6 times when we did this, but we did it. And it was, I mean, for us, it was, for the staff, it was scary. For us, it was exciting. But we suffered. And we can't say we didn't through the course of the year financially. And now here we are. If I gave a list of 5 ways that the city can find revenue, right? Development should be paying assessments. They're not. They should have been years ago. I've been asking for this for years. It's still not happening. Fees for services to other municipalities. I do not believe we are getting the right fees for our services, but I'd like somebody to look into that. Are we properly billing for our EMS services? Now, the chief says we are, but if you look online, at the various levels, it doesn't appear that, it appears we could be billing more and it wouldn't be overwhelming, relatively speaking. Are we getting proper interest? I was speaking with Henry on this, on our estimated,
Wait, I'm sorry. Mayor, you can't have it yet.
I can't have it now?
Your motion's still pending.
Oh, thank you.
Rob's gonna
No, you can't have it back
rule
yet.
me out of order. I haven't spoken.
We estimated 2.9 million in 2026 for investment returns and only we had 3.9 more in 2024. So why aren't we getting more money on our investments? There are ways that we can be getting revenue, but if we don't find it, we have to tax our residents, and we have yet to find it. I made the same plea 1 year ago, and we're still sitting here. So the problem is, I know what the financial situation is, and it's not good. We've taken our reserves from 35% over the course of 4 years, and I know I said this at the earlier workshop, but there's people here now. Our reserves, our rainy day fund, our emergency fund was at 35%. We're now at teetering on 21. Teetering. We used to buy vehicles outright for the city. Now we have to lease them because we don't have the money. And would be thrilled to reduce taxes because I would benefit from that reduction. But someone tell me where we're getting the money, because 90% of our expenses are obligations under contracts. And what are we going to do? You just voted in the union contract. It comes at a cost. The fire union contract came at a cost. We have obligations that we have to pay. And unless someone shows me, Mayor, I adore you, but you keep saying, we've gotten granular reports. I mean, the thing was this big. I spent 2 weeks going through it line by line. If you have something to produce, produce it. But thus far, you produced an email that was really misleading, because you're telling people, come out, demand transparency, demand accountability. Your email had wrong numbers in it, totally inaccurate numbers. Your email said, if we stay where we are at the 5.9, we'll get 8.5 million in additional ad valorem revenues, and we only need 60 to 70% of that number to cover our costs, which are our required pay and insurance increases. That number was totally inaccurate. It's 11.5 million. If we stay where we are at right now, we cannot afford the cost increases to our insurance, and we cannot incur the cost of the required by contract increases that our employees are expecting. So if you said, oh, well, we'll just get rid of the teen center, 500,000. We don't even have control of that. We can't do it. You said get rid of the woman in education, get rid of the guy in economic development, get rid of the person in sustainability. Those three salaries together are like $360,000 maximum. Where are we getting the other 26 million, 25 million? Nobody has given a good answer for that. Mr. Moore said, well, we'll just take $8 million from our reserves. How are we going to do that? We'll cut out the vacancies. We'll cut out attrition. We didn't include the third man on the ambulance, but everybody came to us and said, we want 3 on the ambulance. So I want to be with you on this, but I need solid numbers to show it's possible. And thus far, all we're having is conversation. Now, you said, I'm doing all the work, no one's bringing in any numbers. I spent an hour at the last meeting going through a 500-page document, line by line, pulling out things that we could cut. Mr. Moore, thank you. Mr. Dakowitz, you cut them. But we're still coming up way short. So show me how these numbers work.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns, you have anything to say?
Yeah,
on this?
I just no, it's okay. I'm just going to say that even with the cuts, even with the deficits, the 6.1920 is still not solving the problem, and especially not increasing services for our residents. We're cutting, we're not increasing. So to raise the millage, they're already going to have their property taxes raised, the sewer rates are raised. This is just not a good time, in my opinion, to raise any costs. And I understand the deficits, but either way you look at it, with either millage, we're still in a deficit and having to use reserves to bring us to a balanced budget. So I'm still in support of just leaving it where I wasn't in support of the rollback in the first place. definitely not, and fear exactly what we're going through. However,
But you're acknowledging we're going through that, and you're still
we're
willing
actually-
to go
but
through
I'm
that.
saying that whatever, that raising the millage to this millage still does not solve the problem. We still have to go to the reserves.
We
So-
always go to the reserves
Okay.
there. It's the money carried over from the last year. We just have to keep them at a
I
balance.
don't have any other comments. I'm finished.
Yes, I mean, I'm seeking, you're the chair, so I gotta.
I'm asking, you want to talk?
Oh, yeah, I think I
Mayor,
might wanna
it's up-
talk.
it's up to
Let
you.
me just say a couple of things. First of all, you're right. I said last year that I wouldn't go to the rollback rate. I would love to go to the rollback rate. Now that'll bring us down to like 5.3. That would be absolutely fabulous, and I know that's not going to get anywhere. So what I'm proposing is that we don't increase the rate, that we're having sufficient revenues come in to cover many of the expenses that we're going to have. But no, it's not just one thing alone. You are exactly right. And you seem to think that that one seems to think, not to personalize it, but one seems to think that if you don't put somebody on a budget, they're somehow going to act like they're on a budget. My proposal would have forced the city to look within itself to find sources of revenues. You say why they didn't do anything. Why should they do anything? We're going to cover it with the millage. Why should they look for additional expenses? The way you get people to do things is to hold their feet to the fire, bring it to a millage and say you've got to live within this number. I do budgeting a different way. I say you got to live within the number. We seem to be saying, well, this is the number, so we need to raise the millage. No, you force your number to go down. You find that's everything is on the table. I mean, everything is on the table. Leasing instead of buying, okay. I mean, I think that we're leveraging our assets to do that, and I happen to think that that's the way everybody's doing it these days. But the way to force the city to look for additional sources of revenue is to make them have to look for additional sources of revenue. We are not doing that. We're not doing that as it relates to staff management. We're not doing that as it relates to revenue management. We're not doing that as it relates to trying to maximize and to monetize the assets that the city has. So no, I think that we have enough money with letting them pay the additional 7% or 6.1, whatever the number was going to be, additional taxes is enough. If you look at just how much they've been paying over the years, it's enough. It's time for the city to do its job to figure out where they can find the savings. We can, and truly, until you put them on their feet to the fire, you're just not going to get it. Because why should they? Why should they? You just keep raising the rate. I mean, why should they? I wouldn't. I mean, I'm saying, well, yeah, they keep saying we got to raise revenue, but let me just increase the millage. We won't have to look at those things. Well, I think we should be looking at those things. I think we should be looking top to bottom with this city in ways you could save money. I do believe we can find the money. Just pretend that with close to $200 million, you can't find the money is kind of like, with the growth that we've had in the budgets, with the growth that we've had in spending, with the growth that we had in revenues, to say that you don't have the money to figure out where we can cut and streamline, I just don't buy it. So I understand the way you think. This is just the way I think, because when I'm putting people on a budget, I put them on a budget. So you got to live within this number. And that is the way to ensure that they'll look for other revenues. That's the way they ensure that they look at whatever the structures are within the organization. That's the way you get it done. That's my view. So.
Commissioner Marker, would you have anything to add to this lively discussion?
I do. I'll try not to be too lively, because you'll hit me with the mallet, which I would not.
You're the least of my concerns.
All right, understood. So for those of you that weren't here last year, I absolutely voted for no increase last year. I thought that was the right thing to do. I'm happy we did it. I knew at the time the following year would be a tough year. I've been through this too many times. I knew it was going to happen. And I will tell you, the times that we're in right now and the times that we're going in, 2025 and 2026, costs are rising. Most of you probably been to the grocery store recently, huh? How's that? How's that trip? I bet that hurts. Well, here's the report from the consumer packaged goods industry, one of the industries that I come out of, about companies' plans for raising supermarket prices this year. There's 11 companies that were surveyed. All but one plan on major increases at grocery stores this year. Those that are going to be increasing them, Coca-Cola, Colgate-Palmolive, PepsiCo, Mondelez, Nestle, Kraft Heinz, Procter & Gamble, and General Mills. General Mills is the only one that does not have plans to increase costs. So, you know, I watch those industries very close. They affect my wallet, they affect your wallets, and we're gonna be paying more. And I think that what that triggers for me is, okay, for the consumers, groceries are gonna grow. But it also means our city costs are gonna grow too. It's naive thinking if you don't think we are. I mentioned in a previous meeting here earlier today, I forgot, it seems like it was yesterday. We buy office supplies, a lot of office supplies in the city. We buy paper, ink, toner, pens, paper. They're all going up, guys. You can sit here and think it ain't going up, but I'm telling you right now, it's going up. And you know, we have contracts. We contract with other industries and other businesses. Those prices are going up too. People are expecting to be getting paid a little bit more because they go to the grocery store and what used to be 20 is now 60. I get it. Julie talked about the reserves. This was near and dear to me last year. I'm not loving the fact we've gone from 35 million to 21 million. I don't like that. I've brought this up before.
That's percentages, not
percentages.
Yeah.
But I don't like that we've
21,
dropped.
I'd be on your side.
Yeah, no, I'd be on my side too. I'm sorry about that. Misspoke. But I don't like that our reserves are getting down that low. We need those. Stuff goes wrong. You know, we need it for bonds. There's a whole lot of reasons why. The rate that I'm in favor of is on the table on the screen at 6.19. You take a look at that. It's the second lowest rate that we've proposed in 10 years. So please don't feel like we're trying to go deep and hard. We're not. It's the second lowest rate in 10 years that's been proposed. The cuts are hard. There's no doubt about that. And so far, a lot of the cuts that have been mentioned, in my opinion, are vague. That's just my corporate experience coming out. Young lady, when you talked about the property values, that hit me. That was you're right there, and I'm really glad that we can sit here and our property values are going up. That's in general a good thing. But you're right. Every point you made was right. Your costs are going up a bit, and no one loves that. And mine are going up too. I just got my tax bill from the county yesterday. Yeah, there you go. So my bottom line here is I don't think we can take a flyer on the cost this year. I think it's too risky for the city. I think it's too risky for all of us. I think the 6.19 it's a perfectly good compromise. Again, it's the second lowest rate in 10 years. So we shouldn't feel like we're punishing anybody. So I'm in favor of the 6.19 rate. Mr. Chairman?
All right.
Mr. Long, could I make one comment, please?
Of course.
Thank you. Mayor, you said there were no cuts. That's not an accurate representation. The first round that we reviewed, there were over 4 million in cuts. After the last meeting, when I went through the 500-page report, there's over 460,000 in cuts. And in between, there were cuts. I mean, the fire department cut out $8 million. We are cutting to keep ourselves within this number. Going to your number, we're 26 million short. And I've said to you from day one, show me how you can do it. And I may come along with you. But you haven't shown us anything. It's just talk. And you know, the fact of the matter is you're right. We've been asking for this stuff and we haven't gotten it. But I don't see during the course of the year, you know, concerns about that. You can't be fighting this stuff on the eve of the vote. It has to be consistent throughout the course of the year.
All right.
May I just one quick thing, and then I promise.
Can we keep it quick,
Well, I do it when
Mayor?
you want to say.
I know. That's why I'm going to let you do it.
I mean,
This is a lot of this is like the greatest hits right now, guys. We've already had this conversation.
You know, I know. I mean, I just want to point out a couple of small things that we've had in the last 10 years, from 2015 to 25. We've had a 78.9% increase in our budget. 78.9. We've had our employees have gone up 24.9% over the same period, and our population growth has only been 7.09%. I understand, of course, about the pricing increases. I would suggest that we don't go to Office Depot to buy our things like that, but The point is obvious. I mean,
Careful, because I think you have a long-term contract with them. I'll leave it at that.
yeah, but we get a bulk rate. But the point, that doesn't matter.
But
That-
you know
that-
what, Mayor, that's going up too.
It is, but not the same percentage. But that doesn't matter. That's not the point I'm trying to make. You know, we understand there's this increase in prices, which begs my question: if there's going to be increased prices that I can't control with other people out there, to the grocery store, clothing store, stationery store, wherever store they're going to go to, then shouldn't I be doing the best I can in the prices that I can control to try to ensure that I get a lower tax rate, so I give them some kind of relief? And by staying to the rate that we adopted last year, it's still going to bring in some millions of dollars. Is that enough? No. Do we need to do more? Yes. Can we do more? Yes. I think we can maximize our revenues better. I mean, I'm not going to re-articulate all those things. I made my point. So I think this is a really bad time to raise taxes on people. As I said, they're already going to pay, if they stay at the same rate, they're already going to pay 6.5% more, assuming they're homesteaded and stuff like that, you know, and depending on what it does with the commercial properties, which are also being impacted greatly by this. All I'm saying is there should be enough money coming in with other things we can do to maximize our own revenues to be able to do that rate. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So anyway, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I'll keep my comments real brief because we've already been over this many times. So I hate to keep framing this as raising taxes. I mean, technically that's what we're doing, but it's a bit reductive. Like, look at the graph. If you look at it, we're really lowering, if we're looking at 9 years, we're still lowering millage. There was just one aberrant year in the middle, which maybe some of us up here advocated against. We wouldn't have to talk about raising anything had we not made that decision last year. We would be on a normal trajectory where we still reduce millage every single year. So in my mind, we're just correcting it, but it's still on a 9-year trajectory where we're lowering it. And I imagine if we don't do anything, you guys don't do anything crazy, you could lower it by a normal amount next year too. And that's how we help taxpayers and still pay our bills here, right? I mean, listen, we don't have to, we've traveled the road where we all have our different perspectives on this. At the end of the day, no one wants to sit up here and say, let's raise millage or let's raise taxes. None of us want to do that, right? It's politically, it's damaging to anyone, right? It would be, God, you know how easy it'd be for me to say, yeah, let's lower them and then ride off into the sunset and let you guys clean up the mess? I'd love to do that, but I'm not going to do it.
Please?
It's not the right thing to do. Okay. I know you'd love it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mayor. I can't.
I'd almost register to be a Democrat.
That's compelling. I can't do it. So now that everyone's spoken their piece, can we call the vote, please?
Just a reminder,
Yeah.
the vote is to approve a millage of
Understood.
5.94.
I made the motion. There's a second, so you can have whatever you want to do.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Carney,
Yes.
Commissioner Markert,
No.
Vice Mayor Long,
No.
Commissioner Cassell.
No.
Motion failed.
Could I get a motion for the resolution that's on the agenda, if anyone was interested in making that?
Yes, I'm getting it. Motion to approve resolution number 197-25.
Do I have a second?
Is that the right resolution?
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
That's
I
it.
apologize.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, but this,
We need a second.
I thought I heard a second. No? Second.
Could we call the vote on that, please?
Mayor Carney,
no.
Commissioner Markert,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Cassell,
Yes.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns.
No.
Motion passes.
Let me have my gavel back. You've already engraved it with your name on it. That's unbelievable.
You're going to be passing it back to me for the next one. So.
Okay, we're resolution 8B, formerly 8C, resolution 203-25. Would you please read the resolution into the record?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, certifying to the property appraiser and tax collector of Palm Beach County the final rate of millage to be levied by the City of Delray Beach within the Downtown Development Authority taxing district for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, establishing the Downtown Development Authority Taxing District final operating millage of 1.0000, which contributes to a final aggregate millage rate for the city of Delray Beach that is 9.37% higher than the aggregate rollback millage rate of 5.7329, providing for an effective date and further purposes. The intent of the City Commission is to adopt an operating millage rate of 1.0000, which is necessary to fund the cost of operations and maintenance for the Downtown Development Authority.
So we have a brief presentation by Downtown Development Authority Executive Director Laura Simon in terms of why we are where we are, but it is their proposal and request, and therefore before the City Commission this evening. Ms. Simon, if you would, please.
Good evening. I'm not sure if we have a presentation on file, but we are here. I'm Laura Simon with the Downtown Development Authority. I'm also joined by our new board chair, Jim Knight, and part of my team. But this is our second hearing for the final adoption of our 1 mil, which will fund our organization's operating budget to be reinvested back into the downtown. This is our downtown millage that we are keeping flat at the 1 mil, and we'll look to with a proposed number of the ad valorem revenue would be at $2,037,980 to fund our operations for both marketing, economic vitality, our placemaking, and our organization to operate this fiscal year budget. So we look to, we've had a meeting last week, and our board reviewed our budget, so looking forward to funding that for this fiscal year. And I'm here for any questions. And is this a public hearing, right?
Yes.
So,
This,
great.
this is a public hearing. Thank you, I was getting there. I just waited for everyone to finish. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak on this item, please come to the lectern, give your name and address for the record. You will each have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Suzanne Prado. I have 3 restaurants in Delray Beach, and I am so happy to be here to recommend that we fully fund the DDA. It is an organization that has helped us thrive, and I think we all agree that it is run by a really great group of people that are just very present and in our community, making things amazing. I also did want to say that it has changed throughout the years. The city of Delray Beach, it has evolved and made us more present, and we get a lot of notoriety, we get a lot of people know us now for our restaurants, for our businesses, for our merchants that they support, for Fashion Week, for Savor the Avenue, for the events at Old School Square. So I don't want to take up too much of anyone's time. I just want to make sure that that continues, and I'm here to support the DDA. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Are there any other members of the public wishing to yes? Got to jump up faster, Mavis. I nearly gavelled you.
I know. Got to be fast. Good evening, Mavis Benson, 800 Greenswood Court. And I just want to share a letter from another one of our businesses in the downtown. I'm writing today to express my wholehearted support for the Downtown Development Authority and to emphasize the vital role they play in the success, vibrancy, and unity of our downtown community. As someone who resides and works directly in the heart of Delray Beach for over a decade, I have seen firsthand the impact of the DDA's tireless efforts, their unwavering commitment to uplifting local businesses, fostering economic growth, and building meaningful community connections is not only inspiring, it's essential. The DDA consistently demonstrates what it means to lead with both heart and strategy, from creating dynamic campaigns and hosting energizing events to developing collaborative initiatives that bring businesses and residents together. They have become a cornerstone of progress in our city. Their forward-thinking and inclusive approach ensures that no voice is left unheard, and every business, large or small, has the tools and opportunities to thrive. What sets the DDA apart is their unique ability to blend creativity with actionable impact. Their initiatives aren't just well-intentioned, they drive measurable results. They generate a foot traffic, boost local sales, and foster an identity that makes Delray Beach feel like home to so many. Laura Simon and her entire team's passion is contagious, and their vision for what the city can be is what continues to elevate us all. Beyond the numbers and economic benefits, the DDA nurtures something deeper, a sense of belonging, pride, and shared purpose in today's world that is no small feat. I urge you to continue to support and invest in the DDA, knowing that their work ripples far beyond any single event or campaign. They are integral to the very fabric of our downtown, and our future depends on their continued presence, creativity, and leadership. With sincere appreciation and unwavering support, Dana DiDomenico from the Events and Marketing Manager at Silver Ball Retro Arcade. And if I may add to this, I totally agree with what she has said, and I would express that the same is true with the way they have become the managing partners at Old School Square. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Jim Knight, 85 Southeast 4th Avenue. I am the chairman, honored to be the chairman of the DDA board. I also am a taxpayer paying the DDA taxes. I think there's been some questions about whether my lease and so forth included the taxes and so forth. It does. I do pay the taxes of the DDA, and I am pleased with the work of the DDA board and everything that's been going on, but I'd like to go back a little bit if I can. So 20 plus years ago, Marjorie Frere, who was here with the picture with you all earlier, she was heading up the DDA board, and I was not able to be a board member. I don't know if I qualified or not, but I was a block captain, and I got to deliver the flyers from the second block, so basically where Worthing Park is, to Swinton on both sides of the street. Well, back then we were known as dark, dirty, and dangerous. It's a fact. It's just what we were. I would take the flyers from 1 month that Marjorie would hand out, and I'd go to every single stoop of each storefront, whatever, and drop them off. And next month, I'm picking up the same exact flyers. They're weathered, but the same exact flyers. It's so important to realize how far we have come as a city jointly. It's the city, it's the CRA, it's the DDA, it's the historic group. It's a team effort. We're finally getting to the point we're now getting some pretty significant office businesses to come to town. Vertical Bridge, Digital Bridge, and some others now. We couldn't get anybody. When we lost Office Depot years ago, when we went to Boca, which Boca still has the largest corporate presence of any area in all of Palm Beach County, people are now saying, I want to be in Delray. I want my business to be in Delray because I want to walk to the shops, the restaurants. I want to bring clients here. All of a sudden, those clients are moving and living here. And this is a joint team effort, and I encourage you all. I would greatly appreciate the support of keeping the 1 mil and let the DDA do its job, which has been doing a great job for many, many years. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Stacy Dowdle, 801 Delmar Way. I just really am here. I would like to echo my friend and colleague. I had the good fortune of my firm opening an office down here in 1998. I come from the public pension fund side of Wall Street, and I am very pleased to tell you that I am in full support of the public-private partnership that I've witnessed take place in the city of Delray Beach. I actually had a child here. She went to St. Vincent's, and she's now a senior at Pope John Paul. And I'm pleased to tell you that I'm in private practice now in the nonprofit arena and public-private partnership solutions. And my office is in Delray Beach, and I can tell you we are definitely Wall Street South down here, and everyone is coming to enjoy our city from all over. And I'm so pleased to say that I've been in Delray Beach for almost 30 years now, and it's a pleasure to support all of our efforts. And thank you. I just wanted to support Laura and everyone here in our beautiful city.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, public comment is closed.
I didn't recognize Cole Devitt is here. He's also our new treasurer.
Hi, Cole.
So, thank you. Thank you for being here. And our council, Quentin's back here. And
Hi, Quentin.
yes.
Anyone
Good.
else?
No.
Okay.
Just thank you. Thank you for the public. And
Thank you.
I'm here to answer any questions.
Nope, I don't think. I'm going to make a motion that we approve a millage rate of 0.9386, which keeps the DDA with exactly the same money they made this year. They're doing a great job this year. You know, I firmly believe that people are looking at us. This is a wonderful entity, but it has one of the few DDAs in the state which does not have a sunset provision. And they're getting looked at real carefully. And there needs to be some gesture that you're doing something for the taxpayers, because you're not. And except raising it, and I'm not saying that the values added and all that stuff doesn't create value for the city. Of course it does. And I'm not arguing the success that we've had downtown, with which, as Chairman Knight said, was a collaboration of the TDA, CRA, and the city. But I think that we're not talking a lot of money, but I think the gesture is going to be real important, that the DDA look like they're happy with the money they made this year, which they've done a great job, and go with the same money this year, which is reflected by the 0.9386 millage rate as opposed to the one full mill, and adopt that as the millage, and let the taxpayers, albeit it's a small amount, but it's the gesture that's going to be important. It's the gesture that's going to be looked at, as particularly, as I said, this is a non-sunsetting, one of the few DDAs that are non-sunsetting, and the way to keep eyes off of non-sunsetting provisions is to look like you're doing something for the taxpayers. That's my spiel. I don't know if I got a second or not, but that's my spiel.
We should have a discussion.
Yeah,
Well,
were you
somebody
supposed to
has
get
to
a
second it.
Can someone second for discussion?
I'll second it for your just because you already discussed it, and now we can discuss it.
Sorry, Mayor, what was that number again so I can write it down?
Which one?
Your
0.9386 or thereabouts, according to Mr. Dokowitz, who I imposed on earlier to give me a number. Is that the correct number that you gave me? You're not looking, but
It is.
It's the number that you nothing. That is the number. So
9386.
it allows them to get the same revenues against the higher tax base that they've received this year.
Thank you.
So that's my motion. So now you can do.
We had a second for discussion. I think Commissioner Cassell wanted to start us off.
Sure, I'll start you off. I don't know how I understand what you're asking her, and the organization, but it concerns me in light of all the stuff that's transpired. And I want to lay it out because we've had this conversation. It started off with, you sent out a mass mailing to people in the district and outside, asking them to come to the meeting and demand, that transparency and accountability, and that they lower their millage. And what resulted was a wave of people coming in here saying, we support her, we want to pay this millage, and we'd be willing to pay more. These are the people paying it. You made a remark that you'd have Tallahassee, intervene. It's not for us. They're a dependent agency, but they're separate. They can vote on their own mill. And if you look at our code, Article 8.2, the Downtown Development Authority, Section 8.2.2G reads as follows: levy of ad valorem tax. For the fiscal year of the authority beginning with the calendar year 1972, and for each fiscal year thereafter, an ad valorem tax, in addition to all other ad valorem taxes, is hereby levied annually for the purpose of financing the operation of the authority, and all property in the downtown area is subject to the ad valorem taxation for city operational expenses. The tax base shall, and you know this word because you're an attorney and we've discussed it up here, it's a mandate, shall be the assessed valuation made annually by the county tax assessor. The rate shall be, again shall, 1 mil. And that's what it says. That's our code. They're supposed to tax at 1 mil, according to our code, and it says shall, which means it's a mandate. And I don't know what the purpose of this is, why you sent out letters to hundreds of people outside of the district and asked them to come, letters to people inside the district, emails to people. You sent emails to people who aren't paying the mill, telling them that they had to come and demand to pay less when they weren't even paying it. There was a lot of getting people riled up against us over this millage rate and against the DDA over their mill. And I don't understand why. You made a call for action. No one came. They came in support. Hundreds of people. We've gotten emails. We've had people turn out here. We had a gentleman, Mr. Walsh, in International Materials, took his time. The guy's running a $4 billion operation to come in here and say the only reason why I'm in this city of Delray Beach, we were in Boca, is because of Laura Simon and this DDA. She was critical to their location, to our city. We had Windy City Pizza come in and say, my portion of this bill is $200 and I would pay more for what you've done to benefit the business. You know, part of the reason why Rose's daughter, you're here, you're 3 businesses, thank you for coming. Part of the reason why our downtown what it is because all the events, all the things we have going on. If we eliminate money from the DDA and we have less events, then we potentially are looking at a different downtown. And I don't know why you're putting out this call to action. And I don't know why we want to usurp their board's powers. Their board voted on their own mill, and typically that just passes. And now when I read our own rules, I say we don't have a right, and it's a mandate that she gets 1 mil. That's how I read it.
Am I reading the statute wrong? That they're enabling statute, whatever our code says, the statute says up to 1 mil.
It says may set a rate of less than 1 mil for the ensuing fiscal year. So it's a may.
Right, but
It's a may.
our code says
I'm looking at the
shall.
code, 8.2G.
Yeah, I know what the code says. It says may.
8.2G, I printed it out right here.
Okay.
The rate shall be 1 mil for each dollar of tax
I've made
base.
my point, and you know, nobody's saying that the DDA doesn't do great work. They do. Nobody is saying that everyone hasn't benefited from what they've done in the past. They have. I'm just saying it's not a lot of money, and it's a gesture that goes a long, 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 long way. Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. But anyway, that's just my look. I've made my point. I mean,
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns.
I just want to say that, the call to action did turn out an overwhelming number of people for support in the chamber and as well as email. And it was all good. And, everyone was in support of, not one single one that I received was in opposition to. So I'm in support of the 1 mil.
Commissioner Marker.
Yeah, I've said this before publicly. I think the DDA has been doing a great job for our downtown area. I mean, it's just accolades all around. Great people, great staff, great board. I think you guys have done so well. I'm definitely in favor of the 1 mil. Mayor, the one ask that I'd have is I know you've appointed yourself to the DDA board.
yes.
I'd ask you to help repair the relationship with the DDA.
We've met. I think we've we're
You apologized.
It
You apologized,
It felt
right?
pretty bumpy
You
to me,
deserved
just
it.
as an
We're fine.
outsider, but I would ask you to please work with the DDA board. I think it's a fine group of men and women that are on that board that volunteer their time, and I just would ask that you help us get our relationship back where I'd like it to be.
Understand, my wanting the tax thing is nothing to do
understand.
with that, because I did the same thing to the city.
No,
So, I mean, I'm very consistent in my wanting to help the taxpayers.
I got no problem with that, but at some point, get our relationship back with the DDA where we want it to be, because they're one of our premier agencies. We need them, we want them, we work well together. We want to work with them.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just, their budget's up 100% in the same period. So, I'm just saying, it's a.
No, it's fair. Your
I'm just,
opinion's welcome.
I'm just trying to make sure that we. I just think it's an important thing that we look like we are trying to accommodate the taxpayers to some extent when it's a de minimis amount, frankly, and it's not like they're going to be left high and dry because they're going to still get $1.5 million, $1,950,000 coming in. We're talking 100,000, 110,000 difference here. So I mean, it's whatever. But
If
anyway,
I-
I've said my spiel. I'm done.
If I may, can I just I appreciate.
You gotta ask him.
Please.
May-
By all means.
Thank you. But I appreciate your efforts, Mayor, and we've worked as a team and as a staff, and I do think, to Commissioner Margaret's point, this year ahead, I think is really a very good time for all of us to work together as we come back next year at this point with efforts to bring as a community, as our stakeholders, listen to them and see how we can move forward in the coming years to potentially lower that as we grow as a city and as new comes and new develops, what we need to do, but working together for solutions towards that. And I think that is something that I know we do, and that's how we lead our community and our downtown and our team. And we want to work together for what's the best for Delray Beach.
All right. Has everyone gotten to say their piece here? Now we're all very kumbaya at the moment. So, listen, all I'll say about it is I personally wouldn't want to make a decision based on what Tallahassee may or may not do. I think I've made that point very clear. And I think we need to be just in general doing what we can to stimulate our downtown economy. I think the DDA does a wonderful job at that. I don't think it's, I think we need to not get in your way when it comes to that. I'll leave it at that. I don't think we need to go into any more depth here. So can I get, can you call the vote?
It's not just
please?
Tallahassee, it's the taxpayers too. I care kind of, we can, whatever.
So the motion on the table is for the .9386.
Somebody call the question.
Yeah, the mayor had a motion on the table. It was for
I called the que- I called
.9387,
the
whatever.
question. I call the question, so.
Yeah. Can we call the vote for that?
Commissioner Marker,
No.
Vice Mayor Long,
No.
Commissioner Cassell,
No.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns,
No.
Mayor Carney.
Yes.
Motion to approve
Fails.
resolution number 197-25.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Long,
Yes.
Commissioner.
Wait, I
I was
gave the
just
wrong
gonna say,
number.
that's
I
the wrong
apologize,
number.
guys.
Oh,
It's
I know.
I bounced
198.
them around
It was
again.
gonna bring them down to
It's
half.
I'm sorry.
Good, that's
Do I have to
what I
withdraw,
like, yeah.
withdraw my motion?
Yes,
Motion to approve
203-25.
203-25, resolution number, excuse me.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Cassell,
Yes.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Carney,
No.
Commissioner Marker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
The greatest respect to the DDA. We are now on. This is actually the
18.
budget resolution,
So
right?
this is the budget one.
Approval of the budget, okay.
I just need one.
Resolution 198-25, would you please read the resolution into the record?
Sorry. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, approving a final budget and making appropriations of sums of money for all expenditures of the City of Delray Beach for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, and ending September 30th, 2025, prescribing the terms, conditions, and provisions with respect to the items of appropriations and payments therefore, providing for supplemental appropriations and reappropriations, providing for severability of parts hereof if declared invalid, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we pretty much accomplished this presentation earlier when we addressed the millage rate. However, I would like to add the consensus offered during a workshop meeting for $425,000 in identified efficiencies to also include the net additional allocation for the library at $55,000, as well as a $75,000 net additional commitment towards the pressure cleaning program, as well as a net $7,000 towards the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services for the aforementioned training opportunities in that regard. For that reason, ladies and gentlemen, that summarizes where we are.
Do we need a presentation from Mr. Dokowitz, or have we?
I would just point out that the
Sorry.
total revenues and expenses, after all the changes,
Yes?
are $201,106,067.
201 million, how much?
201,106,067.
So you're gonna need a motion to approve the budget of 201,106,067.
And this is a public hearing.
This is a public hearing. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public who wish to address the commission on this agenda item, please come to the lectern, give your name and address for the record, and you will each have 3 minutes. Seeing none, public comment is closed. I will entertain discussion or a motion.
I move resolution 19825 for approval.
Second.
As amended.
I'll second that, or did Julie already do? I'm sorry,
second it.
Julie did
That's
that,
fine.
apologies.
The second's coming out of the thing. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Casal,
Yes.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns,
No.
Mayor Carney,
No.
Commissioner Markert,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Great. Budget
Thank
is
you.
approved. All right, first readings, we have none. Comments and inquiries on none?
Actually, we have
No.
the new 8 days.
Oh, yes, we have to go back to 8. We gotta go back to the other one. I get confused. I told you to remind me. Okay, there you go.
Ordinance number 19-29, ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, amending the capital improvement plan schedule and the comprehensive plan of the City of Delray Beach for fiscal year 2025-26 to fiscal year 2029-30, in accordance with the requirements of policy CIE 1.2.1 and CIE 1.2.6 of the capital improvement element, providing a conflicts clause, providing a severability clause, providing an effective date, and further purposes. And this is second reading, public hearing.
Hi, Amy Alvarez, Development Services, Ordinance 1925. So this is essentially a formality. It's required by our comprehensive plan to adopt the 5-year capital improvement plan each year as it's updated, and it's also required by statutes. I'm not sure how much you want to go in depth on it, but the program is available on our website, and I believe you have all the backup of all of the projects that are included in our 5-year plan. There are some comprehensive policies that require this. It's an ordinance. Planning and Zoning Board reviewed it and recommended approval at their August 25th meeting.
This is the same schedule that you gave us and went through it last week.
At
Well, the
first
missing-
reading.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
You do not. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to come and discuss this agenda item, please come to the lectern, give your name and address for the record. You will each have 3 minutes. Seeing none, to the
Motion to
commission.
approve ordinance number 19-25.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Deputy Vice Mayor Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Carney,
Yes?
Commissioner Markert,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Casal.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Great. Now, I'm moving on to agenda item 9, of which we have 0. And so we're going to comments and inquiries on non-agenda items. Mr. City Manager, you're first.
I yield at this time. Thank you.
Good answer. City Attorney.
In response to your inquiry about the names and addresses, I actually did find an Attorney General opinion that could support us removing that from the local rules, if that's something that you're interested in. I would recommend that maybe we have cards where people put their name and email address or because I know, especially,
the
I know
county
you,
does,
Mayor,
yeah.
you contact people. So we can make that change if you'd like for the next meeting.
I think we should consider, because they're genuine. I mean, I think people are, these days, you say something they don't like in front of a public hearing, all of a sudden, you know, they got your name and address for the record. So it's
So
one
the
thing.
standard is whether something creates a chilling effect, and maybe in today's
Right,
political
we don't want a
climate.
chilling effect. So
And,
that-
and we're streaming, you know,
and so
we're streaming.
Yeah, they could be at the house by the time I get home.
Yeah,
So, what's your home address so I can, never mind.
I'll
So,
give yours.
Understood. So if you wanna do a motion to direct me to amend the local rules in that manner, I can.
Yeah,
do that.
I would come back with something. I mean, I
Okay,
would
come
like
back
to,
with it?
do we have consensus here? I mean.
I'm only
yes.
asking
Yes,
because
for
we'll
me.
have to start the next meeting with people giving their names and address, so unless
But
you
we need to
wanna.
adopt it first, so you
Right.
can't just.
I could make the changes in my office, but
Yeah,
we can
so-
do it that way. We'll put
And
them on
so
the.
I love the idea that they do with the county where you fill out a card and you do all that. So for the purpose of the city, we have a record.
Correct.
And then we can forego a lot of the details
Publicly.
in the streaming part of our meeting.
But just so we're clear though, for quasi judicial proceedings, somebody will have to.
Quasi-judicial is different, that's a court
Right,
operation,
right.
that people
Okay,
have to give the
I'll
name
bring
and
those
address for the
changes
record.
back to you.
Understood. Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
all in agreement on that?
Yep.
Yes.
Great.
Okay,
Perfect.
great.
Thank you,
Commissioner comments? You'd like to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Put
Mine,
the gavel back and let me go first? No, I'm kidding.
mine are quick. The Davis Cup was over the weekend, and I wanted to thank the USTA and Parks and Rec for doing an amazing job. It was a world-class event. Despite the weather and despite America's loss, it was still an awesome event. I was only able to be there Friday, but I had a great time. But I did want to just ask a question. It's not meant to be critical about anyone. You know, we had this luncheon beforehand in the upstairs area of our tennis center. And I can tell the Parks and Rec is they're working, they're doing the best with what they got. But I think that area desperately needs a renovation.
Yeah.
It's in rough shape. I mean, I was looking up and the ceiling tiles are dingy and kind of pushed up in, and there was like broken parts to the door frames, and we need to invest a little bit of money in that. You know, I'm sitting there at the table with the mayor of Wellington, who's a friend, and you know, we're like competing with Wellington a little bit, and I'm like, man, we could be doing better right now. You know, we have yeah, I mean, we have this organization coming in, and you know, we're truly blessed to be able to do these types of events. I'd like to put our best foot forward whenever we're hosting folks like that. So I think maybe a conversation about injecting a little bit of capital into giving that little bit of an upgrade would be good for us. So wanted to throw that out there. And again, not meant as an indictment on any of our staff. I know they do the best with the budget they have there. So moving on, I was going to congratulate Anthea, but she's not here. But the University of Miami School of Architecture Centennial Medal, which was referenced earlier, that's a really big deal and very exciting for us as a city to have someone with those kind of accolades working here. So congrats to Anthea. And last thing, speaking of our amazing staff, I was speaking with Captain Ferrari, who's here in the back. He gave me a bit of an update on the city's technology initiatives, especially the ones related to the federal grant. He informed me that the Department of Justice recently approved an amendment to the grant funding regarding the equipment being used. This approval came about a week ago, and he's actively been working with the vendor, with Bob Diaz, as well as our IT department and other relevant staff. The vendor is currently in the process of filing for permits with the city, county, state as needed. It's anticipated the project will be completed within the next 4 months. And this is the surveillance project that we're doing throughout the city. Captain Ferrari also, he to me commended several individuals, and I wanted to share that commendation. The teams that worked very hard and collaborated with PD, which is Bob Diaz from Public Works, Jennifer Reynolds and her team from City IT, and staff from the City and Police Department's purchasing divisions, and the Police Department IT team. Captain Ferrari emphasized how much he and his team value the opportunity to work collaboratively across city departments, and I just wanted to officially thank these folks on the record as well, because they've done an amazing amount of work. And again, I keep beating this drum up here, but this surveillance project that we are building in the city is a really, really big deal for us. It's a really big deal. Captain Ferrari, is there anything else you wanted to add in terms of an update? Is there anything I'm missing since you happen to be here?
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, not to put me on the spot. Good evening. No, just as far as an update, thank you. And again, thank you to Missy and her team. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. As you guys know, we have the state appropriations. It's being managed through FDLE, the applications with FDLE. That's for the Barry Island project. The application has been submitted. We're just waiting for final approval from FDLE. However, we're moving forward. We met with the vendor. We met with members from our department to design the project. So hoping to get a quote back soon and see how far we can take that. And we'll provide you guys with an update. And then for this current fiscal year, as you guys know, the CRA and the DDA had allocated money for expansions of cameras on West Atlantic Avenue. City IT had created a plan with bringing fiber and cameras similar to what we did on the east side of Swinton Avenue. We're just waiting for the final quote. I've been in contact with Renee Jaddison to show her what we can do within that budget, and then also what we can do that would help connect the city and create a lot of redundancy, which is obviously going to increase the price. But we want to see the final numbers, and then we'll bring it to the CRA or whatever appropriate party to get some direction. Questions?
No. Awesome
And
work.
one more thing I just want to point out real quick. The DOJ grant amendment, just so you guys know, we found the way to save about $80,000 by buying different equipment so we can expand the technology even further. So that's why the grant amendment came up. So just so you know. Thank you.
Well
Thank you very
done.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership on this, Gary.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Mr. Mark.
I'll be quick. A couple things. Rob stole a couple of my points, which are all good ones. Went to the Davis Cup event a couple of nights. Yep, the weather wasn't great, but boy, everything else was good. Shout out to the police department and the fire department for being well represented there. We appreciate it. You guys play a vital role in keeping us safe in big events like that, and I can't say enough. Also, a shout out to all the volunteers that were there. See all the folks that were in the, the green, Laura? I can't remember.
Yeah, green.
Green shirt. I mean, there were so many of them helping everybody out, and it was a big crowd. They did just a great job. And a second shout out to Parks and Rec. Sam and his team were there all day, all night, pulling this thing off, and it came off beautiful. Anthea, woohoo! I know you're listening. I'm thrilled for you. And then the last thing I want to do is do a shout out to our executive assistant that supports 5 of us, Nohemi Morgan. I think she does an amazing job. She manages 5 schedules. She takes sometimes very hostile calls from the public when things are not going well. Occasionally she gets a happy one, but more times than not, rough ones.
You should call her occasionally. Just call
Yeah, but she does a great job, and as you can see, we're all perfectly get along and everything. So it's there's no personalities for her to be, right, Jim? There's no personalities to be managing. But I do want to say thank you to Nohemi, who does a great job, puts in lots of hours, and really keeps us all real. That's it, Mayor.
Commissioner Casal.
Sure. I guess you guys covered it all. I was thanking the USTA and our staff. I left. I was a diehard. I left at 11:30 Saturday night, and when I went through the back room, Parks and Rec staff was still there,
I know.
working hard. 11:30 on a Saturday night. I mean, we have the most amazing employees, and the volunteers. It can't happen without them. There was a couple I met that came from Atlanta, flew in just to volunteer because they love tennis, and that's exciting. And yeah, Anthea, congratulations. University of Miami School of Architecture, Centennial Medal. It's very exciting for our city. And then I'm glad we covered that safety issue. I want to talk about visioning because I'm a little, when Mr. Moore, when you and I first talked about it, you said there'd be a discussion amongst us commissioners in terms of how we're moving forward. But we haven't had that discussion at all because from the beginning I was asking, I feel like our partners should be part of the steering committee, not in the second or third wave of engagement. We have Spady, we have Historical Society, we have CRA, we have DDA. We have a lot of partners that, in my conversation with you, we were discussing that they should be at the forefront of this process along with the people we have appointed. Yet I haven't spoken to Raftelis regarding the process at all. I still don't know except for my brief conversation. And you've already got the date planned without her talking to us. So I would like for our nonprofit partners, at least those that are, working with the city on a regular basis, to be involved in this engagement.
Sure. So if I may, Commissioner Casal, to be responsive and supportive. So Raftelis is committed to having individual discussions with the rest of you if that has not yet happened. I'll confirm that does happen. That should have happened. Number one. Number two, with the consensus of the commission, I'll offer direction regarding
That's
the
all I'm
partnership
really looking
piece.
for. You don't even have to have her call me at this point because it's already scheduled
It
and
is
what have
scheduled.
you. But I feel that our community partners should be engaged in the process.
That's totally fine. I'll make arrangements with the consensus of the commission this evening. Will y'all be supportive? We're talking about DDA, CRA, Chamber of Commerce,
Spady,
all of it.
That's not
Historical Society.
That's not visioning. Having been through 3 of them, this is a community-driven.
I grabbed one of these from 2010.
I don't want to, Commissioner, I don't want to argue with you. I'm just saying,
you don't have to
having
argue,
been
but-
through 3 of them,
Which
3
ones were
very
you,
successful
wait,
ones.
which exactly were you involved in? I'm just curious because I'm going to go look them up because
Well, I
this
was the
one,
chair of the one for Visions 2020.
Where is that vision?
Well, it was provided at the one time. I mean, I'm just
that-
saying, all I'm
that's
saying is,
the 2010?
visioning is trying to go to the community.
Your name isn't in these vision books, but
Well,
that's
I
not
was the
what,
chair.
it's
I was
neither
chair.
here nor
But
there.
the point is,
I'm
in
not
visioning, you
disagreeing
get
with
the
you,
community
but you're
together.
not deciding. We should decide as a team.
Okay,
This is
well,
the point of having
there's
Ralph Tellis
misunderstanding
talk
what
to all of
visioning
us.
is, and I'm kind of the one who
I don't
brought it up
have a
at goal setting.
misunderstanding. I know, but just
That's-
because you brought
okay.
it up doesn't mean you get to
Okay,
control
you're right.
the entire
I
thing.
no experience. Good.
I think our partners should be involved in the visioning process.
They get
I
involved,
mean,
but
if the
you're-
Historical
you're-
Society has been here, you
Your
know.
visioning process of the city is what the residents want their city to look like in 2035.
I don't see how the contribution from these partners doesn't provide something helpful. You think the Spady Museum can't
I
provide
think that
some
you should
input?
have a long chat with
You don't
Ralph
think the
Tellis before you make
Historical
that
Society
decision.
can provide some input?
I think you need to have a long chat with
Well, they
Ralph-
didn't call me because they only felt the need to talk to
okay,
you.
that's fine. It's your comments. I'm not going to comment anymore.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, I think you should ask if you have a consensus to get our city partners involved.
I'm asking if that's the case.
Thank you.
I would like our partners involved.
Thank you.
Blows this vision. They're not visioning it.
Okay, very well. However, I will still ask Michelle Ferguson from Ralph Tellis to have individual conversations with you all, as well as proceed with the consensus noted. Because that was a commitment I did make previously, as you acknowledge.
Yes.
I will likewise offer direction to follow up accordingly. So in both regards, done.
So okay, you've got the consensus, so you'll reach out to our community partners and let them know what the dates are for the,
We'll coordinate that. Yes, that's November 7th. We have plenty of time.
fabulous, I appreciate that, and thank
Okay,
you all for
and
the
again,
consensus.
the consensus, I have to have that understood. Ralph Tellis to follow up with each of you individually for those who have not yet had the opportunity.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Burns.
Okay, not a whole lot. You guys have covered a lot of it. I wasn't able to attend the Davis Cup. I was a little under the weather and the weather was bad, so I stayed in and didn't come out unless I had to. I had to come to those call meetings, so I missed the Davis Cup. But I wanted to also say congratulations to Gina and the Creative Arts School for launching your culinary classes. Great job.
Took mine.
And Anthea's not here, want to congratulate her. And the thunderstorms, I don't know, I mean, I know we got several emails concerning, flooding after the storms. I know North Congress was flooded, and I know over at the golf course, they had catfish in their pools. And, yes.
Oh my God.
They had catfish in their pools, and then off on the Barrier Island, they had a lot of flooding. So I don't know, how we are addressing this. I know that, we had a lot of rain, so, but we did get emails from residents about the flooding.
And if I may
excessive
respond,
flooding.
Director of Public Works Missy Barletto and I met early this morning over at the Swinton Operation Complex to discuss strategies for responding to the very serious events in this regard. Some of it is related to construction. So we do what we can to reach out to individuals experiencing tremendous inconvenience in this regard, notwithstanding the heavy torrential rainfall having been experienced. But in some cases, we are at liberty to follow up with residents who have expressed specific concerns, taking all other issues under consideration. So that is our practice, and direction has been committed to proceed.
Okay, thank you, and I think that is all.
Okay. First, I wanted to thank Lynn Gelland for all the work you did, for all that lawsuit and back and forth with all the different parties that were pulling at you. You kept your composure. You, unlike some of us, me and others, but whatever. But no, I'm just saying you kept your composure. You were very truly professional, and I greatly appreciated the efforts you made. And I know you were walking a fine line to try to get all the interest to the community, the members, us, everyone's interest. So I wanted to publicly acknowledge the hard work that you did. So I for one really appreciate it. I'm gonna just say again, I think you read, before you start including not-for-profits involved in this process, you've gotta really, you need to understand what visioning is all about. And I understand that none of you do, that's no fault of anybody, it's just, I happen to be lucky enough to have participated in 3 of them. I was less so for the first one, but for the other 2 that I did, Visions 2020 and Visions 2010. The last comment I'm going to make is many of the concerns that I have with respect to the budget could be addressed and satisfied should the commission undertake next year to have a true zero-based budgeting process. I think it's time. We haven't had it in a long time. You know, people are scared of it. You know, they think, oh, we're going to lose jobs. The last time I was involved with a zero-based budget, we ended up hiring people. So I do think we need to understand better how each department works. Essentially, you know, zero-based budget, you just start off with bare walls and you build your departments back that way. And then you see to the extent that there's duplication, or you see to the extent that you need somebody, or to the extent that somebody else can be redeployed in another department. It's not a function of getting rid of it, it's a function of trying to make yourself more efficient. And it really is time, for a budget our size, we really should have been doing this every 5 years. And you know, you're fond in the corporate world, but they do it in the corporate world all the time. And in banking, we did it all the time, every 5 years. So I'm gonna recommend that that be the way we approach it next year. We have to start earlier if we're gonna do a zero-based budgeting, because it's gonna require that the Office of the City Manager start going department by department and stripping them down and rebuilding them to find out exactly what we have. And that's really, I think that's.
I think it's a great idea. The fire department did it. I requested this for years.
Right.
They did it this year. I think you have to take it in chunks.
Because a lot of my concerns of whether you're overstaffed or understaffed or overpaid or under.
I don't know if you can do every department at one time. I think you have to take sections of the city and do one or two departments.
That's what a zero-based budget will be. It will be a methodical thing going department by department.
Different departments on an annual basis for a set period of time. So,
right.
to wrap up, we can commit to a discussion in February in which we would start formalities in March.
In municipal government, the good news is, unlike some of the stuff, you can do more than one department at a time. So we take some of the, and I'm very confident, because I'm sure that, Mr. Stockman, you're used to it, because in Connecticut, they do it all, I mean, up north, they do it all the time.
Right.
It's almost practically annual in some of the places, but I mean, it's certainly, they're used to it all the time. So we will be able to put together a pretty good thing, and I would recommend that we have more than one. I mean, we have a lot of departments. There are some key departments that we can start with.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ideas. We'll be
Okay, that's
proceeding
fine.
beginning in
I just
February.
wanted to go on record.
Yes, sir.
Because that's all I wanted to do, and that's all I have.
All right.
Any other comments from anybody? We're adjourned.
Good night.
Do you want to have your?
I'm sorry?
No.